bitch. Oh, excuse you? Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry in. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. What happened? On my video, what did I do? Hold on. Expand her on my little. Why am I small? Why am I small? Hold on. Oh no, it's supposed to be this one, I think. No, it's supposed to be this one. How y'all doing? It's your boy Chris Avalon. I'm trying to sit up in here and figure out. Okay. I'm like, what did I press? Because I was sitting around here messing with these damn demos. But anyway, hey y'all, what's going on? It's your boy Chris Avalon. Now that we back in effect, and it's, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news and hot topics. So that's a show for you. Definitely tune in because we got a lot of tea to spill today. So some of the topics we're going to be getting into, of course, y'all know Mayhem came out on Friday. I listened to it twice, so I have my overall thoughts. And y'all know y'all can chime down in the comments because it's Mayhem Mania. Being that Miss Gaga has been all over the place with her interview. She did SNL last night. I just got finished literally watching her two performances. Well, one was Abracadabra, the other one was Killer. I got thoughts on that. Plus, we're going to talk about it's official, Cregger, who directed a couple of interesting horror movies and stuff, is on board to direct a new Resident Evil movie. We're going to get into it. Jeff Bezos is going in on Barbara Broccoli because she called all the execs over at Amazon effing idiots. So he basically was like, he wanted to remove her because he was like, I don't care how much it costs. Get her out of here. We're going to talk about it. Plus Bill Maher, stupid Zionist terrorist behind, genocidal maniac behind, as I like to call him. I do not, well, we're going to get into it. Let me compose myself. He's going in and starting this whole cancel culture mess in regards of why he feels Emilia Pérez lost out to Anora. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, the latest on Gene Hackman, his cause of death, along with his wife's cause of death, has been revealed. I wasn't here on Friday, so we got to talk about it so that we talk about it here. We got to talk about Diddy hit with forced labor claims. Kandi Burruss is being sued for $200,000 due to not paying rent on her restaurant, one of her restaurants. We got to talk about this girl that got fired over at, for twerking because she passed her probation period. And when they saw the video, the flight attendant, she got fired. We got to talk about it because we gotta have a heart-to-heart with Gen Z because y'all not getting it. So we gonna talk. I'm gonna be, Uncle Chris in this whole situation. I'm not gonna windmill a little too hard, but sometimes, the tough love has to be given by somebody. So I'm gonna give it to y'all in regards to this whole filming yourselves over every little accomplishment and everything y'all do. Y'all be putting it all over social media. So we're gonna have a conversation about that. Plus, we got to talk about DDG spilling tea about Halle Bailey saying that she's not allowing him to see his kid. And he's been trying for the longest to see his son. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, Attendant is slamming all the anti-trans rhetoric that is floating around all over, with this current administration. We got to talk. And I was like, oh, I got to come on Sunday to talk about this. We got to talk about this RuPaul's Drag Race season 17, episode 10, Villains Roast. Bitch, when I tell you I got my entire life, I had my popcorn and my drink, and I was salivating over all the drama that went in this episode. This was the best episode I feel like we've gotten drama-wise in a long time. So we're going to talk about that, plus Untucked, because Untucked was just as good as the episode. And I watched RuPaul's Drag Race twice. So it's just so that way I can get all my information and all my notes and all that other stuff. So I got regular note. I got two things to note. So we're going to go through it with a fine tooth comb. And of course, y'all know what to do. Chime in the comments based off, the whole Drag Race thing as we always do. Plus Suzie too jumped on the line and is spilling tea about why Jules Sparkles didn't tell on Arrietty for stealing her jokes. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, we have some great news about Slaycation. It has been renewed for season 2. I'm going to let you know the queens who are going to appear on the second season of that show. So that and a whole lot more. So, and yeah, so I was going to say, let me hit my banner, but apparently I hit my banner before I even went live. I have some comments. Who's in the building? Robert is here. Yeah, happy Sunday. Magical Mermaid is here. Black Love is in the building. Carl is here. It's not as dark as I was hoping. Instead of the Fame Monster, she went with. Well, we gonna get into that. Yeah, Barbara. I don't know if it's Barbara Broccoli or it's Barbara Broccoli. I don't know how you say it, but yeah, we talking about her. You know, she owns the rights to the Bond franchise. I had to jump on the line and get a Red Bull because I was like, child, with this daylight savings time and everything, whew, I am so tired. Because yesterday, before we get into the show, yesterday I worked oh my God, how am I forgetting his damn name? Forgot what I worked yesterday. That's how tired I am. So um the DJ, Dom Dollar, he had 2 shows at Madison Square Garden. I worked both of them. It was exhausting, you know, dealing with a lot of young kids, underage drinking, or even just drinking in general, people getting white girl wasted. A lot of y'all don't know how to act and all this other stuff. So dealing with all that drama, but it was a fun show. He definitely spins good. First night, I don't remember who the first act was, but the second act, Green Velvet came out, of course, turned it out because I'm a huge Green Velvet fan. Then, of course, the first night, you know, he killed it. Brought out some singer that is on like one of his big hits. And we brought out Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi came out both nights. Last night it was even better because he had brought out Kid Cudi and he brought out Tove Lo. So having her get up there and she performed that song that they have together. She was looking good with her long ponytail, and flicking it around like, you know, she whipping her hair back and forth. And so it was a good show. So many cuties up in there too. They was of age, but it was like, but it was overall it was a fun show. I got out late. Daylight savings time changed. I was exhausted. The next time the bus was gonna come from where I had to go, because I live in a Toot, what is it? Um zone, you know, with the public transportation. So it's like a train to the bus. The bus said it wasn't coming for like an hour. So I literally walked like 40 blocks from the train station. It wasn't bad because I had my podcast. I went and was listening to my podcast while I was walking. I got in 2 workouts because I went to the gym earlier and then I worked out again from that long ass walk. And I was dreading it. I was ugh. But then the good thing about it was cold out. So if I do a long walk, I'm not gonna sweat. So that was the perfect part because I'm always hot. So I walked through the breeze. It was windy out last night. I was like, I'm not going to sweat. That daylight savings time messed me up. So now I feel like it's going to take me at least a half a week to get through this daylight savings time. Because, you know, that always throws us off. Sidebar, I could have sworn they said that they were cutting off daylight savings time. Why is that still happening? Didn't they say they was going to stop doing the whole daylight savings time? Why we still got that going on? But I do agree, Magical. Bill Maher is so annoying. But look, the past decade he's been irrelevant, but HBO still gives him a platform. Mm-hmm. Uncle Chris, stop filming everything. I even stopped filming concerts. It's the moment in the 90s we never filmed it. Why starting it? Well, I mean, yeah, there was a lot of people. They were filming a lot of the footage from the show. Um, but that was, you know, I don't know if it was all over social media because I wasn't looking on Twitter. But yeah, there was a lot of filming. A lot of people had their cameras up, wanted to be in the moment. But the funny part was the kids spend more time filming themselves, posting reactions like they're having a good time. That is like, are you really having a good time though? And then there's people, like even older people are getting in on it. There's a couple of old queens up in there that had their phone up and they was recording, and they wanted to come down and record like certain moments of the DJ and all that other stuff and the music and the beat dropping and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there like, what happened to be in the moment? But we've been so indoctrinated in that too that it's like we don't even know how to have that. Like even when I went to go see Madonna, I was like, I'm gonna just record certain performances, but for the most part, I'm gonna just take the time to just be in the moment. So I only recorded the opening, nothing really matters. Then I recorded Ray of Light, because I knew that moment. I was like, yeah, I want to get that moment where she's rising up on the thing and then flying across and all that other stuff in the little square. So I was like, I want to have that moment. But other than that, I was just like, yeah, I want to be in the moment with it. Oh, using my notes. Why I thought that was a drug needle. You said thoughts on Jade's takeover. It's cute. There was somebody, damn, there's a out artist. I forgot his name. He recorded Madonna's cover. No, he covered no, not a Madonna. He covered a Madonna song, and it was damn it, it just escaped me. It's like one of her it's a why is the name escaping me? The song will go, no one's telling you how to live your life, but it's a setup until you're fed up. Like, I'm like, you actually covered that song? Not that I hate it, because I do like the song, but I was just like, okay, then let me find. And I'm like, did you pay her in mere ways for covering that song? Like, how does that work when you be covering people's songs and putting on your record? Especially if you are an independent artist. Yes, Avalon Slaycation renewed for a season 2 was not on my wow. Okay, Green Velvet did a fabulous remix of "Sorry About My." Yeah, I like Green Velvet. Um, you was there. You said you're 3 hours ahead now. I mean, we always 3 hours ahead, as you know, when we on the East Coast. Being a white folk obsessed with Lady Gaga and her new album, and Abracadabra is my favorite song. My favorite track is Zombie Boy, and I immediately realized was in the interlude of the disease video. Well, yeah, we found that out once we heard the song. Now, we don't want Pink to retire. As long as she got energy and all that other stuff on her body, I want her to keep performing. But anyway, so yeah, since everybody's still talking about mayhem, let's get into mayhem. So I'm wondering, is it mayhem or mayhem? And if you believe some of the comments on social media, there's a lot of people that I heard was like mayhem, that they are disappointed, that it was like, oh, I expected this, but they didn't get this. And I think it's like, you know what? The one issue I will always say that I have with Lady Gaga, the problem I have with her is the fact that the people that are in charge of hyping her and making her like this big, larger than life pop star, which in so many ways she is, I feel like y'all the ones that be shortchanging or hyping her up to have this big expectation, and then your expectations are let down. I feel like when you listen to Mayhem, it is an album you got to sit with. Like you literally have to listen to it, sit with it, let and stop being like, you know how to y'all be getting on social media, because I was watching that press conference and I wanted to jive through the TV and smack some of y'all because y'all was doing a little too much. But for the most part, I'm just like, just take the music, settle in, take it in, feel the music, do all this other stuff. And I will say this: the first half of the album I liked. The second half I was getting bored. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Like, I don't want this. Like, I like the fact that you made it seem like you were going more Born This Way. You were going more the Fame Monster. I think more people wanted those. And no shade, I will say that I prefer, like out of the Fame and the Fame Monster, I resonated more with the Fame Monster than the Fame. The Fame was a little too popish for me. The Fame was a little too, I don't want to say a little too gay, because it wasn't. I mean, if you're a gay pop star fan, I mean, if you're a pop fan, you probably gonna get a little gayers and stuff from it anyway. The dramatics, the over the topness, all other stuff. And there were some great songs that was on the Fame. But the Fame Monster for me, I just love that dark electronic element to it, because I listen to a lot of that music. Like, that's a lot of music that you would listen to if you were in Berlin or something like that. So I was liking that kind of like that vibe that she was going for. And she went more for it, more experimental, I feel like, in Born This Way. So I think more people were feeling they wanted more Fame Monster, Born This Way, not necessarily the Fame, because to be honest, there's some songs on the Fame I like, but there's a lot of songs on the Fame I don't like, because I'm like, these feel like demos to me. These don't feel like real thought out, well-crafted pop songs. But I think because we got so caught up in the pomp and circumstance of the Fame that it exceeded some of the other songs that was on the record. So she was able to skate by with that. But then as the albums progressed, then we like what we like. But then, of course, there was Art Pop, which I know the hardcore fans like justice for Art Pop and whatever the case is. And to be honest, when Art flopped, she decided, oh, the antics, all the other stuff, you know, the meat dress and the coming in, being carried in some giant alien egg at the Grammys, and what's she gonna do next? She's gonna shoot, embryos out of her vagina. Like, what is she gonna? What's the next big crazy thing that she's going to do? And it was like the pomp and circumstance, the dramatics, all the little stunts were overshadowing the music. So then she's like, oh, and then if you pay attention, she did say in some interviews, well, I've had to go and prove myself to be an artist because nobody was taking me seriously. Hence why she went more Joanne, and I wouldn't ask for it, but I understand why she had to do what she had to do. And that album flopped also. Then she had to go do the jazz stuff, which I found quite fitting that two of the oldest queens in the room, when she did that press conference, the Mayhem fan press conference, the two oldest queens said that her jazz stuff was their favorite. And I was like, how fitting. I said, of course, queens of a certain age would say that's the best era of Gaga that they like. Me, I'm all about drama. I'm all about pomp and circumstance. I love theatrics. That's what I always like when it comes to when the type of artists I watch and I listen to. But for the most part, it was just like, I wanted more of that. Like when you dropped Abracadabra, like Disease, I always said this. A lot of people wasn't feeling Disease. I like Disease. And when I saw the placement that it was the opening track, I'm like, yeah, this definitely feels like a song that should open and set the mood for the record. Then Abracadabra came. And I was like, yes, Abracadabra is giving you signature Gaga, where it's just like, but it's like on a different level. And so I was living for it. But you want to know something? There came a certain point when I was listening to the album and I was just like, I immediately went to, I don't know if y'all ever heard of her, but she's this Swedish pop star, a little underground. She does electronic pop music. Her name is Cobra. Bitch, I've been living for her for a while now. I like her songs where she got, I Give Good Puss. Like, that was like one of my favorite songs. And then she has a song called 10 out of 10. Let me tell you, if you put 10 out of 10 on and your ass don't start pop dipping and spinning across a goddamn room like you about to audition to be a part of the House of Extravaganza, then you's a damn lie. Because her songs get bangy, it's edgy, it's electronic, it's unapologetic, it's sexual, and that's kind of like the energy that I was hoping that Gaga was going to give me with this record. And then I was just like, okay, it's cute. It's your standard Gaga record. Garden of Eden, I did like that song. I love the chorus and the pre-chorus. I could be ready for the weekend. Like, I like that part. I was like, yes, bitch, you better hit them vocals. And so I was just liking the ultimate sultriness of it. Perfect Celebrity, I was like, okay, it just feels like your standard cliche song about fame or whatever. So I wasn't into that song too much. Vantage Into You, I did like that one. Killer featuring Gustavo Stein. Now, she did perform this song on SNL, and I actually liked the performance that she did on SNL. I also feel like that is the closest as we get to, and she said that the album is going to be industrial inspired. The album is not fully industrial inspired. Like, if y'all want to hear some KMFDM, listen to some Nine Inch Nails, listen to some Marilyn Manson even. Like, there's been parts where Marilyn Manson was like more goth, but there was a period where further on, he did get a little more industrial in his music, which I was actually preferring when he got a little deeper into the industrial versus back in the day when it was just full on like metal, rock, pop, and that sort of thing. Then he went glam for one moment when he did Mechanical Animals, which was very Bowie based. Speaking of which, Killer does remind me a bit of David Bowie when I was listening to it. And it felt like it was David Bowie sung by Jake Shears. That is what it was giving me. Because even when she was, I was like, girl, why you give me Jake Shears with this performance right now? Except, you didn't have like some shirt, you weren't shirtless with like some real tight bell bottoms on or something. So I did like Killer, especially like towards the end when it has like that long breakdown. It's like that electronic breakdown. I'm like, yeah, you just keep it going with the drums and all this stuff. So I was preferring that whole element of the song when it kind of just goes on, because I always like when I listen to certain songs and it has that EDM vibe or even like an industrial vibe, that it's like that breakdown and the music just keeps going, doesn't fade out. And then Zombie Boy was cute, but I'm thinking and when I first saw the title for Zombie Boy, I was like, Zombie Boy has to be based off of course, the model who was in her Born This Way video who died. So I knew that had to be sort of a thing. And Love Drug, the way that it was headlined, I was like, why does feel like this was trying to be like the sequel to Love Game? How Bad Do You Want Me was cute. And then it's like, it goes, I even like Don't Call Tonight. I like her vocals on that one. But like, as we get further down, Shadow of a Man, The Beast, Blade of Glass, I started getting bored. And then don't even get me started on Die With a Smile. I don't care what she says. I don't care what she tries, what type of lies she wants to feed y'all. I truly believe that Die With a Smile was never meant to be for this album because it does not fit. Sonically, it doesn't fit. Everything about the song does not fit. Feels like it was meant to be a part of this record. I feel like it was tacked on because Disease wasn't really doing that well. Abracadabra, yeah, is doing well on social media. There's been a lot of people who've been going around making TikTok videos and that sort of thing around it. But for the most part, beyond that, we've seen how it's been charting. And I don't think it's been charting all that great. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad song, because it's not. Abracadabra, the chorus is catchy as hell. She sounds, excellent on, vocally, but of course, Gaga can sing her ass off. So that's not, that's not, we don't have to question her on that. We also can't question her on her work ethic and the fact that she is a star. Whenever she gets on stage, she shines. The performances are exquisite. Seeing her perform Abracadabra for the first time, I loved it. I thought, I kind of wanted more, but I realized because that set is so damn small and it was so restricting that she couldn't really move around as much. But she did what she could with what she had, and she gave, full on 110% with the amount of space that she had. So I thoroughly enjoyed her performances on SNL. I was definitely, this is the first time we actually got to see her perform songs from Mayhem live. We only saw her do Die With A Smile, and we only seen her do at the Grammys, she did a cover of someone else's song, California Dreaming. So I was just like, okay. I think most of the fans wanted to see her perform. She could have dropped the Abracadabra music video at 12 p.m. or early in the morning that day at the Grammys, and she could have performed it live for the first time on our TV screens at the Grammys instead of giving us a damn California Dreaming because it was some California wildfire. And this is no shade to the people that lost their homes and businesses and stuff out there, but it was like, ma'am, we ain't asked for this. Just like Quiet As It's Kept, we ain't asked for Die With A Smile from someone who's singing with someone who's basically a colonizer. And by colonizer, I'm talking about Bruno Mars colonizing Little Richard's entire aesthetic and trying to pass it off as his own. And Chuck Berry's. And try to make it like it's original. There's nothing original comes from that 4'2" beer loving queen. But I say all this to say, and yes, I had to hit Bruno with that damn stray. So overall, it's not a bad album. I think it is a vast improvement from what we've previously gotten in the past. I do feel like it's because it's rare that we don't really get fully fleshed out albums from people anymore, that it's a good record. I think people should give it a chance. If you haven't, take time, really sit with it, and make up your opinion. I feel like when you listen to Mayhem, it's an album that you have to listen to more than once, unless you're somebody that's like, oh yeah, off the bat, I don't like it. Or, you get these people out here that are just stands and will just like anything somebody puts out. And that's fine. But for someone like me, it was just like, yeah, I was expecting more industrial. I was expecting her to be a little more edgy with her sound. And there's plenty of girls out here who would, no shade, that is kind of in this electronic music element that are doing the music better than Gaga. Gaga has all the money, all the support of Interscope and everything, but if you're trying to eat, like I said, like a Cobra, like even Rebecca Black, who sidebar, I cannot believe she's actually gonna be the opening act for Katy Perry. Like I like Rebecca Black, but girl, why her? Why Katy Perry of all people? But I understand you need the bigger audience. You are independent, so that is a good look for you. But not with Katy Perry though. Well, out here hoping and praying she gonna sell them damn tickets, but once them shits drop to $25, then she'll be able to sell out her tour. But people like Cobra, people who else? When we got even Charlie XCX, we have so many girls out here right now that are really doing the damn thing. That are doing the genre better, the music genre, better than Lady Gaga. So, so girls like who? Girls like Shy Girl. I'm living for Shy Girl's new EP. Girls like Slater. I'm looking forward to the follow-up to her album. Like I said, Charlie XCX. I like Kim Petras, but I don't know. Something's going on with her career. I think it's probably the label she's a part of. We got people like Chase Icon. We got people like Bentley Robles, who's an openly queer artist who's like in the vein of like a Troye Sivan, but a little more edgier. Then you got like Brooke Kandi, and then you have like just that whole vibe. Like even the Dearly Departed Sophie, like kind of in that vibe. So that's all I gotta say on that. But I definitely want to hear from y'all. What did y'all think of Mayhem? Is it more Mayhem, or is it more Mayhem, or It's just, it's all right. I liked it, or whatever, just whatever your thoughts are. Let me know in the comments down below. All right, so Robert said some of the gays defending her ageist joke on SNL. I was like, she basically said the more relevant ones on radio and her children, like Chapel, are younger than her. I'm like, ma'am, you're becoming Madonna. Okay, because she about to be 40 next year. It's her birthday this month. She about to be 39. But yeah, I had a couple of people in my comments defending or trying to make sense of what she said either. I mean, as well, my favorite pages are calling out. Oh, I heard that Gwen Stefani out here all of a sudden doing these religious prayer commercials, her and Mark Wahlberg. I'm like, of course, when your career goes down the toilet because nobody's buying Gwen Stefani's music anymore, nobody cares. Um, and she's another one that made a shit ton of money culturally appropriating other people's cultures. And then you got Mark Wahlberg, who couldn't act his way out of a goddamn paper bag, but always found ways to make a whole lot of money from the industry. What else are they gonna do? Don't nobody care about no damn bouquet deluxe. People ain't buy the first one. And you want to know another album that nobody cares about that's about to be a deluxe release? Why is Ariana Grande talking about releasing a deluxe edition of Eternal Sunshine? Girl, nobody wanted the sunshine the first time. So why are we getting it this time? Nah, and the library just open. Well, the library is always open over here because reading is what? One of my favorite gays said Killer or Zombie Boy has to be. I think Killer's gonna be the next single, only because she performed it at SNL. So that's my guess that Killer will be the next single. I could definitely see like when I first heard Killer, I'm like, yeah, I could definitely see the vision of how this song could be performed live. And it's funny, like somebody asked a question at the press conference she did. They were like, "Well, when you make songs, whatever, do you ever imagine like the video?" I'm like, "Duh!" Like, who doesn't? But I guess if you're not an artist, you don't think that way. Like, yeah, I see in pictures too. Like, literally, if I come up with any kind of idea, I always imagine like, well, how could this be performed? How what the visual for the video will look like? Like, I always think all kinds of crazy stuff like that. But I guess not everybody sees things the way we do. That's Soccer Mom radio favorite. Maybe this album is a grower. It's a grower. Well, I love a grower, yeah. Melts in your mouth, not in your hand. But yeah, I love a grower, but after first listen, it did feel yeah. It felt like she had an idea, a direction, but she didn't follow through. It's like you were really willing to take that risk, but you got scared. And it's just like, girl, go with it. This is album number 7, lucky number 7. Just go with it. If you're gonna go industrial, bitch, go full industrial. Like you should have hit up Trent Reznor and asked him to come, him and Atticus Ross. But I shouldn't be giving her no ideas. But I was just like, look, if you're gonna chill, first of all, if you're gonna rip off David Bowie, the least you could have did was listen to Earthling, which is his album produced by Trent Reznor when he went full electronic, which is like really around the time. Well, that was during my time of me actually getting to know Bowie's music because of that, because of the whole vibe and the sound that he was doing, because he did an album with Trent Reznor. And then I was still am a huge Nine Inch Nails fan. That's why I said I'm going to his tour. He's going to be doing 2 nights at the Barclays Center, one on my birthday and the day after. So that's going to be the perfect birthday present for me when I go see them, because I've never seen Nine Inch Nails live. But just that whole aesthetic of, I don't know, I've always liked the whole industrialness, the coldness and the darkness of the music. But the part where you feel the emotions and you get that light aspect is through the songs, the vocals, and all the other stuff. That's where the energy comes from. The music is cold, but not the singing. Backpack Boy. Rebecca Black, yeah. I'm going to Mexico in February. But don't get stuck there. That's a bad thing. Perfect Celebrity of Garden of Eden should be the next single. Yeah, but I feel like she might go with Killer, unless she probably just chose Killer because she's like, oh, Killer would be a good song to perform live on a show, because it's like I could just be walking around, strutting like I'm Mick Jagger, and then I just, have the band and I just rock out on stage. So that's probably like a good live. I know that's gonna be a good live song for her to do when she's on the tour. All right, y'all. So where are we going now? All right, let's get to our first topic, a visual topic. And let's talk about Zach Cregger, who we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that he was in talks to direct the next Resident Evil reboot. And they've been rebooting this a lot, and the reboots apparently have not been working. So, we had the ones with Mila Jovovich, which I know the article actually talks about that one with Paul W.S. Anderson. Sidebar, I just heard that him and that he just released a new movie over the weekend with Mila starring in it, because of course he can't make a movie without, giving his wife a job. And Dave Bautista is in it, and a bunch of other people. And they said the plot don't make no sense. It's based on a George R.R. Martin short story. The only thing I know about George R.R. Martin is Game of Thrones. That's all I know about him. I didn't know that he had another story. Apparently, Paul W.S. Anderson got his hands on it, and like everything else, everything he touches turns to food. So now we had his version, and regardless of what y'all say, those movies have made a shit ton of money at the box office. So if Sony's gonna make money, that's all they care about. They don't care how bad the movies are. If y'all gonna go to the movies and see it, then you're gonna go see it. But here's the thing: I don't hate on the Resident Evil films that much because they're guilty pleasures. I've enjoyed them. Like, even when I hated that last one, the final chapter, that made no sense. And the editing of the action sequences was an eyesore, especially compared to Retribution, which I thought was. I liked Retribution because you could see everything. It was just like my eyes wasn't like being harassed so much from all the cuts. You cutting basically like, how do you make a cut from somebody moving their arm like this? Like, why is there like 6 cuts in there? Like, sir, just show the arm moving. Like, what are you doing? Who edited this? Like, the person that edited that movie should never be allowed to work in Hollywood ever again. And then on top of that, there were certain scenes that were just so dark, I couldn't even see what the hell was going on. Especially like the scene, I don't even know, like, there was a scene where, damn, I forgot the guy's name, but I think he's like a Spanish soap star. Remember when they jump off the mountain or whatever? It was him and that horrible other actress. That played the deaf chick in Ruby Rose. Oh my God, her acting. I don't know whose acting is worse, hers or Gal Gadot's. But there was a scene when they all jump off this mountain or whatever, and then the demon dog, the rabid dogs are jumping at. I didn't even know one of them got killed till like we get to a certain other. I'm like, oh, so what happened to the other guy? Did he die? Like, that's how bad the lighting was in that freaking movie. Then I heard a person who was Mila's stunt person, died. Oh no, I don't know if they didn't die. I think they had a body part amputated, and then she wound up filing a lawsuit, and I think they settled. But yeah, there was like a thing that she gets hit on a scene with a motorcycle, and I believe that she had to have her arm or something amputated because she was in the hospital because the injury was that bad. So that movie was a shit show within itself. So regardless of what people think about that Resident Evil franchise, it made a shit ton of money. Thank God he's moved away from it. Then they try to revive it again with Welcome to Raccoon City. Raccoon City didn't do well. It very much gave a CW version of the Resident Evil franchise, so that was kaput. Even though I didn't mind certain parts, it was like, yeah, y'all played homage to the games with certain visuals, but overall the acting was not that great, and neither was the script. So then after that, then they decided to reboot it again for Netflix. The only good thing about that Netflix franchise was Lance Reddick. May he rest in peace. Everything else a part of that franchise, I despise. I didn't even get through the whole season. I think I watched maybe 3 episodes, and I was like, okay, I'm tapping out. Y'all already know my rule. If a show doesn't, or a movie doesn't get me going in the next 30 minutes, I cut it off. If a TV show doesn't get me going in the first 3 episodes, I'm done. So now, since I had to set all that up, because I wanted to pay homage to all the other films before we got to this point, now we got Zach Cregger coming aboard, and he directed Barbarian, which I absolutely love because that movie was so twisted and crazy. I love me some Bill Skarsgård. I was not expecting that movie to go in the direction it went, but nevertheless, I loved it. Justin Long's character in that movie irritated the hell out of me. But that was his job. He was supposed to play a douche, which he kind of plays relatively well because he plays a lot of douchebags in a lot of movies, especially in It's a Wonderful Knife, which is another horror movie that he did. And then there's another film that's supposed to be coming out at the top of 2026 called Weapon. that I'm hearing great things about, and Zach Cregger directed that. So now they've decided to tap him to direct the new Resident Evil franchise. So, according to Deadline, it says Warner Brothers was kicking the tires of this latest Cregger pick, but Sony isn't letting this 1.2 billion grossing franchise go. And yes, the 1.2 billion is courtesy, whether you like it or not, courtesy of Paul W.S. Anderson and that thing that he did with his wife at the time, his rendition of Resident Evil. So now a theatrical release date has already been set, which I can't stand when Hollywood does this. Why y'all picking our dates before we even get a damn movie? And then if there's any type of issue or whatever, then you gotta go and, you know, change the date, which the MCU has been notorious for doing as of late. So it says September 18th, 2026 is when we will get the new Resident Evil movie. So they're ready to go. Now, they said Cregger's screenplay, which was co-written by Shay Hatton, so it's already been written. And Shay Hatton actually wrote scripts such as, and this is why I feel like we're in some good hands, because Shay Hatton wrote Ballerina, and he wrote John Wick Chapter 3 and Chapter 4, which I'm a fan of the John Wick franchise. I'm looking forward to seeing Ballerina when it drops, I believe in July or June. It's one of those months. It's in the summer. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this movie. So if he's coming on board and he's got those films under his belt, I'm excited to see where he's going with this. And if Zach has written helped out with developing the script, and we got, Barbarian, and we also got Weapon, and Weapon is getting a lot of rave reviews because it's been shopped around and people have seen it and they've been saying, oh yeah, it's a really good one. Then, and I think Julia Garner is in that one. I forget who else is in Weapon, but I heard Julia Garner's in it, and a lot of people saying it's a good movie. So I'm looking forward to it. So now Constantine Film is producing and co-financing. Constantine, Robert Kolzer, Vertical Entertainment, Roy Lee, and Mary Yoon, and PlayStation Productions are also producing. So he said, I've been a rabid fan of these games for decades, and to be able to bring this amazing title to life is a true honor. The world of Resident Evil experienced through Zach's vision is an irresistible feat. And this comes from one of the producers. Now, added Stanford Panich, president of Sony Pictures Motion Picture Group, saying Zach is one of the most talented, exciting new directors to come on the scene in many years. His brilliant approach on restarting and refreshing this legendary Sony franchise instantly makes this one of our most important releases for 2026. So they said, they're talking about all the other people that are going to be dealing with overseeing the project. And I'm like, y'all don't care about these people because y'all don't know who the hell they are. They work behind the scenes. So yes, now Sony Pictures released all previous Resident Evil films, including the Paul W.S. Anderson directed Milla Jovovich titles, as well as the 2021 version from director Johannes Roberts, which was the Raccoon City one. Now, at 1.2 billion worldwide, Resident Evil is one of the highest grossing video game feature franchises of all time, not far from the 1.36 billion made by Illumination, Nintendo, Universal Super Mario Brothers movie, and not far from the 1.2 billion made by the Sonic the Hedgehog trilogy. Sidebar, do not throw y'all tomatoes at me, but I have still yet to see any of the Sonic movies. I've heard so many great things about them. I need to finally get around and watching them. And I've been saying I'm going to get around to watching them, but I keep getting distracted with so many other programs that I neglect to watch them. So I know I'm going to try to make time this month to watch all three, since Sonic 3 is currently, I believe, on Paramount Plus. So I'm going to finally get around to watching them. But I just hope that what happens is that they said Weapons is with Josh Brolin and Julia Garner. So that's who's actually in it. I knew I had Julia Garner right, but I forgot who the male lead was. But in regards to this, I just really hope that you keep the budget at a reasonable price. We get the overall tone of the original film, which is like, it's this creepy, dark, atmospheric horror film. We can have action sequences in it, but I don't want it to be like too heavy on the action. Like, we don't need y'all to go in the direction of like what Paul did with Milla, doing high spin kicks on demonic or zombified dogs. Like, we don't need all that extra stuff. Like, you can find cool way. Like, if you need to go around and do some martial arts sequences or whatever against Umbrella or whatever the case is, then you can have them beating up some of the soldiers and stuff with that. When you bring in Chris and Claire and and Leon and Ada Wong and Jill Valentine. Like, focus on these characters, make them interesting. Don't just pull a name out your ass. Don't create some character out of thin air because you want to jerk off your wife, basically, and give her a job. Like, we want y'all to focus on the characters that's in the games. Really give us a cool story. Don't go and be like, well, we took from Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, and we mashed it up in one film. Can we focus on one thing at a time? Give us a cool story. Give us some really scary, intense zombie sequences, and I think the fans will pretty much be satisfied. So I actually am looking forward to seeing what Zach Cregger is going to bring to this franchise. They said that Cregger's weapons sold to New Line for an average sum around $38 million. So, and he's getting $5 million to direct the film, and the $10 million total when that total was added up for the fees and all the other stuff. So he's one director to watch, and so far he hasn't stumbled yet. So I say all this to say to you guys, what do you think of this story? You're excited to see this new rendition of Resident Evil and hoping that they finally get these damn franchise right on the big screen. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Yeah, exactly. Can we get a good script? That's what I'm saying. And the Knuckles miniseries takes place between part 2 and 3. I heard Knuckles wasn't that good though. So, and look, well, it's probably because, well, Jim Carrey hasn't acted in a while. Jim Carrey probably has a crazy amount of expenses. And so he's like, you know what, I'm going to come back and do these films. But here's the thing. From what I heard, Jim Carrey steals the movies in the Sonic franchise. So nobody's been complaining, as far as I know, over Jim Carrey's performance. They actually say he's a good rendition of the films. And ain't nothing wrong with coming back and doing a little acting because you got bills to pay. I mean, shit. Have you seen like how Nicolas Cage, how he was doing so many wacky, kooky movies over the years because he had like a crazy spending lifestyle? As far as who's acting in it, I have no idea. They haven't officially cast anyone in any of the roles. It was just announced officially this, like I think it was yesterday or Friday, that the ball was rolling, the script is done, Sony still maintains the rights, other studios were trying to jump in, and there was a huge bidding war. I think that's what we talked about a couple of months back. And now it's just, we're just waiting on who they're going to cast. But I'm sure that'll all come out within the next couple of weeks, especially if they talk about trying to film this movie and have it out in September of 2026. So y'all got a whole year and a half to get the ball rolling. All right, y'all. So let's get into this Jeff Bezos story, because apparently Barbara Broccoli, we talked about I don't remember when, but we talked about it a while back in a previous episode that Barbara Broccoli did an interview. I like calling her Broccoli instead of, because I used to call her Barbara Broccoli, but I'm like, Barbara Broccoli sounds a little more fancy. So we'll call her that. But yeah, she did an interview or something or other. There was an expose done where she referred to people over at Amazon as a bunch of effing idiots. And apparently Jeff Bezos grifting behind, took offense to it, and apparently, you know, he wanted her gone. So according to IndieWire, they said in a new report from the Hollywood Reporter, Amazon CEO Bezos was determined to take all creative control for the IP through Amazon MGM Studios, which was announced in February 2025 for a reported cost of $1 billion. Feeling that price tag? Sheer retaliation. Now, in December of 2024, the Wall Street Journal, which has literally become a paper for robber barons and Trump taint lickers, so take with it as you will, because at one point, the Wall Street Journal was all about, you know, there was opinion pieces, but now that he's kind of come under this thing where he wants to make it more of an opinion piece for the right because he wants his tax cuts. Why do you think he was hobnobbing with Trump during the inauguration? He wants his tax cuts. If he plans on doing any kind of murders down the road, he wants to go to Trump and see, like, you see, I got rid of all the liberal media. I got rid of all the people that had opinion pieces about you. I killed all their stories. You even had somebody who worked over at the Wall Street Journal that quit because of the recent shift in how legacy media is handling our current political climate and trying to shut down voices. Hence why a lot of people are running over to social media, TikTok, YouTube, that sort of thing, to tell the people the truth, because we don't really have an outlet where we could speak and be the voice for the voiceless. The Republican side got like 8,000 different things, from News Nation to Fox News to Daily Mail with their bullshit, because I'm about to get on their ass too, them old fucked up teeth having Brit bastards, because I saw that mess that y'all posted in regards of the James Bond thing, where they were trying to say, oh, well, Jeff Bezos has this plan, and he's going to keep James Bond. He's going to be a man, and he's going to be all the things that he was in the past because of Hollywood and wokeness. And I was like, here you crackers go, weaponizing a word because y'all trying to make woke a bad thing. Woke is about being aware of what's going on with people who are marginalized in a community. So what are you talking about in regards of, oh, well, because the last James Bond, you got to see a side of him that y'all never saw? Yeah, that he was being sexual, he was drinking, and he was being like that man's man and stuff that he's always been made out to be. But you also got to see this vulnerable side. What's wrong with men being vulnerable? Y'all trying to say being vulnerable and showing that you actually genuinely care for a woman is wokeness? Whoever wrote the article probably ain't seen pussy since he came out of their mother. Whoever wrote the article, because I didn't look at the name. I didn't give a damn enough to care about the name. So I just wanted to kind of give y'all a whole idea about this whole Wall Street Journal BS that's going on with that and Jeff Bezos, and why I'm just like not really all that excited. The more I read about him, taking over the Bond franchise. But this is what happens when you sell your IP to a certain thing. Well, technically it was MGM, but MGM got bought up by Amazon. So when new people come in and they come in with their money, the people that you worked with in the past are no longer there. So now you got these other people come in who have different ideas, and these may not be ideas that Barbara necessarily agrees with, because she's like, this is not what Bond is about. I'm trying to protect the legacy and the integrity of this franchise. But here comes Jeff Bezos, because he said that let's spend on something about Money Penny. About Money Penny, not like that. I don't want a whole show about him. I don't want a whole show about Q. I mean, if you're going to create other characters that are within the 007 universe and possibly give them a spinoff, or if you want to do something where it's just like a team of double O's, while James is off doing his own solo missions, you have another team of double O's who kind of come together, and it's like a Mission Impossible-esque type thing. Then that maybe I would be interested in. But I don't want no side shows of side characters. I'm not that interested. They're part of the ensemble for a reason. When we see stuff about Money Penny, when we see stuff about M, when we see stuff about Q, who makes all the gadgets or whatever, they all work within that whole 007 thing. And if you don't care enough about the franchise, then maybe you should step away and stop thinking of, oh, well, we want toys and money, and that. Like, this new generation don't care about no James Bond action figure, if that's where you're trying to go. But to get back to the story, so the Wall Street Journal published a piece in which Broccoli is quoted as telling her personal friends that Amazon executives were fucking idiots amid dealings with the Bond franchise. Now, as THR now stated, Bezos read her quote in the journal and got on the phone and said, I don't care what it costs, get rid of her. And this is according to an unnamed insider. The outlet further included how Broccoli bristled when Amazon content chief Jennifer Salk referred to Bond films as content. And Broccoli's half-brother Michael G. Wilson, who also steered the Bond franchise for decades, was iced out of meetings by Amazon executives. And this is what I was saying before. When you have people who come in with, throwing around their damn money and saying like, oh yeah, well, they don't, these are people who have not been around Barbara and Michael. So they don't understand the IP. All they hear is James Bond, and they make money, and people will see these things. Let's buy up the franchise, and we'll just do whatever we want with it. They have no connection, or no real connection or tie to this franchise. So there's like, yeah, let's look at it as content. When you say something like that, that makes it seem like you're not even interested in possibly releasing this in the theater. We're gonna create a bunch of spinoffs. We're gonna probably take the Bond films. We're gonna throw $300 million into the budget. We're going to go on social media, which is what Jeff Bezos did, and ask the audience, who would they like to see play James Bond? And of course, as usual, the Henry Cavill taint lickers jumped on social media and was like, we want Henry Cavill because y'all want him in every fucking thing. Apparently, there's no other British actor that exists on this planet outside of Henry Cavill. He has to get every goddamn part. And this is not any shade towards Henry Cavill. I am a Henry Cavill fan. I like a lot of his stuff. The problem with Henry Cavill is he is not someone who sells tickets. Name one movie that he's been able to sell tickets to based off his name alone. I'll wait. And y'all better not say Superman because he was playing somebody who was a part of a pre-existing IP. You know, the shit out my ass would pay $17 to go see a Superman movie. So Superman is based off a pre-existing IP in the Warner Brothers Superman universe. So that's not the same thing. I'm talking about a regular movie because y'all didn't go see that Extraordinary Gentleman, whatever the hell that movie was called. Y'all didn't go see half the movie. Y'all barely even sat around and watched The Witcher. And I like that show. Look at them. They went and sweating. You know, he's gone. Now they brought in Liam Hemsworth. So, then they went on and said he wasted no time buying out longtime James Bond producer, Barbara Broccoli, after an alleged slight. So he's so in his damn feelings and sensitive that he buys out a woman. But word on the street is Jeff Bezos scared of Donald Trump. I just don't understand how these people got all this money, but y'all scared of somebody getting on social media and just saying a couple of words of bullying you. Y'all scared of online bullying, like, get out of here. Y'all scared of a bunch of inbred motherfuckers getting on social media cursing y'all out because, Trump, says something to hurt your wee little feelings and you won't get your little tax write-off and your tax cuts and all that other stuff. Because that's all this old bullheaded bastard care about anyway. And don't even get me started on Lauren Sanchez. You need to tell her to stay away from getting them injections in her face because she is looking more like the damn Joker. If he was to go out and buy the Joker a franchise or Batman, he could cast her as the damn Joker. Or as that woman. Remember when in the original Joker, the Jack Nicholson one? Remember when you had the lady that actually looked like Jack Nicholson face in one of the scenes? That's what Lauren Sanchez be giving. So they said in a new report from the Hollywood Reporter, Amazon CEO was determined to take all creative control for the IP through Amazon MGM Studios, which was announced in February for a reported cost of $1 billion. And this was last year. Oh wait, no, this year actually. For a price tag, sheer retaliation. Now, the Wall Street Journal. Wait, did I write the same thing twice? Hold on. So they said NDY reached out to representatives and they haven't responded. So the only Bond installment that has debuted since the MGM Amazon deal in 2022 has been a reality show series, 007 Road to a Million. But I heard that Robert was not pleased with that reality show series because it was just thrown on Amazon, that she didn't feel like it was properly promoted, and it just like came and went. I remember I saw it on there, but I didn't care enough to watch it. I don't even know what it's about. And I'm a Bond fan. So there was that. But then, of course, Daniel Craig has stepped away from the franchise. And now they're trying to figure out who they want to play the next James Bond. They still haven't cast somebody. We've heard Idris Elba over the years. I don't think he should do it. I really feel like what they should do with, everybody keep talking about Spy and Idris Elba, my opinion, I feel like they need to take more of the Triple X approach. Not another Triple X movie, because those movies were terrible. But I'm talking about in the sense of creating a whole new franchise based off in the world of like a James Bond, but give Idris Elba his own, the inspiration. Because when you look at Triple X, it was clearly inspired by like James Bond and the over the topness and all this stuff, because that's what that was at the time. Those movies were not that great, but for the most part, they were trying to create something which was kind of inspired by James Bond. Why not have our own little spy series, franchise, whatever you want to call it, and have Idris Elba playing a super spy or something or another? We can create our own IPs without having to just be like, well, yeah, let's put Idris Elba up in it. Although it would be interesting to see, like, how does James Bond, a character who's black, navigate in a world of espionage as a black man traveling around the world, and what they have to deal with, the biases and the racism and all that other stuff. Like, that would be an interesting angle. But of course, if you did that, white people start feeling away. Oh, it's like, stop. Go find the nearest cliff and jump. That's what I usually say when it comes to people like that, because anytime you want to tell a story that's different, the racists be feeling away and they want to just throw around freaking words because they know it's a trigger. It's kind of like sleeper cell words. That is like, that's what it's become now. So there have been people that have suggested. I remember I even said Aaron Taylor Johnson would actually be a really good James Bond. I mean, yeah, his movies don't be really doing all that well either, but he's a phenomenal actor. But if you suck up Aaron Taylor Johnson, who's young enough, he's like in his 30s, where he could play Bond for a long time, that would be great. I've also heard another name, and I forget where I heard this from, but I saw this, I think yesterday or this morning, I don't remember. I heard Paul Mescal's name being thrown around. Now, I don't know if Paul Mescal would be a good idea. Here's the thing. He is young enough, but I know like y'all be shady on social media because I've heard people say that he looks old. But I think he's like 28, 29. So you can actually make that work for a long time. But they say he look older than his actual age. And I'm like, look, if that's due to drinking and smoking and stuff, you know how them Irish men are. So that probably comes from all that hard living. When you out here drinking and smoking, it does put a little age on your, your skin starting looking a little leathery. So we'll see how all this works out. Oh yeah, so I wanted to see so we can hurry up and wrap this up. So it says Amazon is also looking to capitalize on the IP with spinoffs, like UK TV professional Aaron McGann speculated in the Marvel Studios S move, saying, yeah, they're trying to create a multiverse, which is, I don't know why everybody's always jumping into multiverses. I just think people are getting tired of the whole multiverse angle. That worked during phase 3, but afterwards it's like people just don't care anymore. They just want a good story at this point. So yeah, they were talking about they want to do a TV series based on Moneypenny, the MI6 secretary. Who the hell gonna watch? Like I said, who gonna watch a movie about a damn, secretary? As well as about Felix Leiter, who was a Bond CIA buddy, or maybe even something involving a female 007. And they said Broccoli and Wilson weren't interested. I remember they tried to do a whole female 00 in the last Bond movie. It was Lashana Lynch. I actually thought she was good in it. But if you want to make a series based off her, I mean, then again, she is on Day of the Jackal. I don't even know if she's going to be back for season 2 because I haven't finished season 1. I'm like 2 episodes behind on that because I got distracted and started watching other stuff. So I got to check on that and see if, that actually is going to work out. So they also said he and Broccoli were very reluctant to delegate use of the IP for 10 or 20 hours of a TV show. So they didn't want to do a TV show. They've never wanted to do that. Even Oz Perkins was asked, and Oz Perkins has directed a couple of horror movies. He did Long Legs, which I did not like. He also directed another film that I believe just came out, and the name freaking escapes me. Oh, The Monkey. That's what he did. I heard good things about The Monkey. I haven't seen it, but I heard that he directed that movie. So people are saying that movie's good. I didn't like Long Legs, but I'm definitely curious to check out The Monkey. He said he don't want to do a film on they said it was on Reddit. He said no because fuck Jeff Bezos. So he's not a Jeff Bezos fan, clearly. What you gonna do? Buy him out too because he said fuck Jeff Bezos? Now Oscar winner Edward Berger, who directed both Conclave and All Quiet on the Western Front, was rumored to be in talks with Bond producers before Amazon took over creative control. They said Berger told Variety that he's no longer interested after the Amazon deal was announced. So nobody wants to work with Amazon. So good luck trying to find somebody. And then I heard rumors of Christopher Nolan. They want to get him to come on board. I can't see him doing it. Like, I feel like he probably would do one, but I don't see him wanting to come on board and doing this film. So Christopher Nolan's all about creating his own original IPs. He's now directing The Odyssey, which based off this cast alone, I'm really excited to see this movie when it comes out. And the only pre-existing IP, I guess, besides The Odyssey that we've seen Christopher Nolan take on was the Batman trilogy. So I don't know if he would want to come on board with Amazon, especially with them trying to tell him what he can and cannot put in his movies. He ain't going to want to do it. So we'll see. But they said that Barbara Broccoli is no longer doing it, and she's at the heart of she is at the heart of this project. So I think it's something different. I don't know. Things have changed. We will certainly miss her very much. And so clearly, it's like, okay, well, this is what you want to do. You want to come on board and ruin this franchise? I'm gonna just let Jeff Bezos come in and do his thing and screw up the franchise, and we'll see based off of the financial turnaround if people care. But I don't think he cares. Just like he don't care that he's lost, since he changed up over the Wall Street Journal, since he went and changed that up, that and he lost so many subscribers because of now the direction that he's decided to take the Wall Street Journal. That's like a little drop in the bucket. He don't care. He make his money from all his other stuff. So it just seems like he don't care about that. All he cares about right now is appeasing the current president so that he can get his tax breaks, and that if any kind of mergers and stuff comes down the road, that Trump won't stand in the way of that. So he's going to be in his good graces until he's out of the office, which will be in 4 years, because this half the thing that he's staying for the rest of his life, sir. Somebody better get him dementia medication, because that's not happening. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story and the latest on Jeff Bezos and Barbara Broccoli and the drama that's going on behind the scenes per the Hollywood Reporter? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Well, there's a reason why, because I ain't gonna be able to be on tomorrow. So I had to come on. Well, normally I do one, especially if I'm like Friday I didn't do a show. Yesterday I didn't do a show because I was working. Sunday I have a day. Tomorrow I actually was able to get I'm working the WWE event. So I managed to pick that one up because I swapped with a coworker. They were just like, oh, they want another event that I was doing. They was like, oh, if you have anybody got a thing was 27, I'll give up either today, which was a Rangers game. I was like, no, I don't want to deal with the Rangers. So I was like, but and she was like, oh, on my Monday. And I was like, well, if you got if you have the wrestling thing that's going to be streaming on Netflix, I was like, shit, I'll do that one. And so I switched. So that's why I'm working tomorrow. So I'm here for it. Not bisexual. Well, look, I wouldn't mind if he was bisexual. You seen that dick? It's a big one. I know he goes, I wouldn't mind putting my mouth on that. Sailor Mermaid said, Barbara is correct. Paul Mescal give him a premature, not premature geriatric. I'm just gonna let that sit. I'm not gonna put that into the algorithm. And then all of a sudden they say, oh, Chris says something and get me banned. I mean, so y'all can read, because reading is what? Fran made a whole show being a nanny with enough creativity. A show based on a secretary could be possible. Oh, Chris says March is a busy month. No, I ain't gonna know until like possibly the 20th or something or another. So I got like another 2 weeks. But yeah. But I'll definitely let you know which ones I'm working, if I'm working one or both. But I'm like, Chef, you had me sit through 2 days. Oh my God, there was somebody else I forgot too. Like, I forgot to tell you about the opening act. So the second night they had somebody named Fuckers. I'm like, you got away with the FCUKERS. That's how you spell it. And then the second act was, I think his name was Tiger also, or Tiga. I can't remember. But it's Tiga. And I remember him because I used to listen to his music back in the day too, like maybe 15, 20 years ago. And I was like, oh, he out here DJing. And yeah, so Dom Dollar, if y'all can give me 2 days of that, you can give me 2 days of Kylie. That's what I say. But anyway, wait, where are we going? Did I read everybody's comments? Oh yeah, I did read everybody's comments. Just had to make sure. I don't know. I feel like I'm off today. Like, I'm like, I take 2 days off, and then so all of a sudden I forget how to do my own damn show. But let's speak about this moron. Let's talk about Bill Maher yet again looking for a moment so that way he can go viral on social media. So let's help the old cooter out. Because apparently he's running around saying that the reason why Emilia Pérez lost to Anora is due to cancel culture. And claiming that he got proof. This is the same moron that said that we should vote for John Fetterman as president on the Democratic side, that Democratic turncoat who is no different than Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. This is who he wants us to vote for in 2028 to be the president of the United States and representation of the Democratic Party. Mind you, John Fetterman, ever since he had his damn stroke, cannot formulate any kind of words to make a sentence. Dresses like literally dresses up in public places like Adam Sandler at the freaking Oscars last week and thinks this is revolutionary. Oh, he looks like a slob. So revolutionary. Like, eat a bag of dicks. How about that? So yeah, John, so now we got Bill Maher, his show, just out of touch. 5 years behind on what's going on in social media. So before I read him down to the floor, because, you know, I just gave you a little taste. Let's get into the article at hand. So shout out to Deadline, who says that the HBO show, and I use this word very loosely, comedian, says the idea of cancel culture has evolved into something else, and the Carla Sofia Gascon scandal played a part in Emilia Pérez losing at the Oscars, which was good news for Anora. I bet you ain't even see Anora. He said there are people who say cancel culture isn't a real thing, and I would say to them, it just happened at the Oscars. This is what he said on his talk show. You may not think it happened, but the movie that was going to win it all was Emilia Pérez. Well, I don't know how you would know that, because unless you were on the committee and you read and you tallied up every damn vote, I don't know how you're going to sit over here and make comments about what you thought was going to win everything. Because quiet as it's kept, Emilia Pérez did not deserve the 13 nominations that it got. Now, I could understand if Carla was going to get it, although I did never think that she was going to get it, because the whole list of people that were nominated, it was tight. I thought it was either going to be between Mikey Madison and Demi Moore. I've said that many a times on this show. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but let's continue to entertain the buffoonery. Because Bill don't know what the hell he's talking about, just like he don't know the hell he's talking about when it comes to politics. Because he want us to vote for a damn Zionist because he's won to be the president in 2028. Well, I guess if y'all want to keep losing, especially when everybody knows that the person that's really getting the people riled up because he's on his anti-robber baron tour is Bernie Sanders, AOC, Jasmine Crockett. These are the ones that's getting the people excited right now. And if Bernie ever thought about running in 2028, I really feel like that some of y'all Democrats need to jump on board and align yourselves with a lot of the things that he's saying, where he's pushing back against the current administration, because we need a couple of those. I don't need y'all sitting up in Congress holding up some damn ping pong paddles with words on it. Oh, that's so scary. You're scaring the Republicans holding up paddles like we're playing fucking ping pong. Like, get out of here with that. Y'all just downright laughable. But anyway, let's get into this stuff, because I know I'm just going off on the side tangent with the politics, even though it kind of goes hand in hand, especially going in on Bill Maher and his stupidness. So he said that Gascon's tweets and likened them, he basically read her tweets and likened them to something a little child would write, adding, it was a little Kanye-esque, just whatever's on the brain comes out. So you're excusing someone or comparing her to someone who's literally come out and said he's a Nazi and is aligning himself with Nazism, and you're supposed to be a whole Jew. How do you defend Nazism? By comparing her to Kanye. Make it make sense for me. But this is what they do. They say whatever comes out of their mouth, kind of like what he's saying Carla said. His audience claps like a bunch of damn seals, not really, letting the words marinate in their brain and actually listening to what he's saying. If it sounds, a little, oh yeah, we're owning the libs, oh yeah, we're going after this one, they clap. But y'all not listening. Y'all hear it, but y'all don't listen. Because how you compare her with, what she said to Kanye? Kanye said 10 times worse. She said, just don't mention Hitler. Well, that's what he said. I feel like it never comes out good. And then some things are said, which are just, oh yeah, you know what? I've said things like that. It's just very, very honest. But of course, the woke community, it was way too far. I'm about sick and tired of these idiotic, money-hungry dingbats like Bill Maher who don't stand on anything. You're no different than Joe Rogan, except Joe Rogan has a much bigger audience. Well, y'all don't stand on money. On anything. The only thing y'all stand on is where the grift goes and where the money resides. That's what y'all stand on. I just wish y'all would be more honest about that and stop using and brainwashing your audience because y'all want to make a little coin and by indoctrinating and feeding your fan base a bunch of bullshit. So that's what pisses me off with people like him. Because it's like, yeah, what does he stand on? And I'm sick and tired of you clear folks weaponizing, because this is exactly what they do. They love to weaponize our words. Woke has become such a dirty word now. And of course, because people of color created the word woke, and it started in the antebellum South, where it was like, yeah, we had to be vigilant, we had to be aware, stay woke, because we've always had to be awake. We never got to just walk through life sleepwalking like a lot of y'all do. But now when y'all constantly get reminded, because of social media and so many other things, of things that's going on in the world that you need to be aware of, oh, it's woke, the woke mob, they're trying to, make us feel bad about certain things. We can't make you feel bad about anything. If you actually have sympathy and empathy for others, then you don't need to be worrying about whether or not somebody feels a certain way about whatever. Like, I don't understand how that bothers you. Especially when you like sticking your old shrivelly ass dick up in black poon. But like I said, a lot of these white men like fucking black women. But when it comes down to windmilling hard for the community, then y'all want to come and show y'all true damn colors. That's why I'm glad that, you know what, there was a time, and I don't know how recent it was because I haven't watched Bill Maher in like a decade. Because once he started saying a whole bunch of other stupidness, like once he just shifted from support of Bernie Sanders to like Snow Woman Amy Klobuchar and her weak-minded political views, I was like, okay, I'm done with you. Now I see you playing in my face. And then he started saying a whole bunch of other dumb stuff down the road. I was well and truly done. So I'm like, you know what? You ain't nothing but a damn fraud. I started seeing through his mess and slowly, but not even slowly, I just cold stopped watching his show. I'm like, I'm going to find other people to watch that actually are feeding into like the hard democratic stuff that I actually believe in. We want Medicare for all. We want a living wage. We want to have, a rent stabilization type situation. Like my rent should not be going up every damn year to impossible prices. But of course, you don't want to pay people more. Like all the things that we feel like people should get. But then you get those people that are like, let's pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But where's the bootstrap? Because y'all keep making it more difficult for people to keep their head above water. So that's what irritates me about him. And that's why I don't really mess with him no more. Because he's like, I'm going to just go where the grift goes. Because all of a sudden, at the end of the day, I got to keep myself relevant. I got to be able to make money. And I'm going to go where the money resides. You don't really stand on nothing. And that's why I can't stand people like him. And I can't stand people like Joe Rogan, who I'm going to go in later on again when I have to bring him up with RuPaul's Drag Race. Because there's a connection with him in this recent episode of Drag Race. And a certain judge that ass was on there. We're going to get into it. So he said in this movie, that was going to win it all. I do not believe that it was going to win. Like I said, I do not believe that it should have gotten 13 nominations. I really don't. So she did apologize. She showed up at the Oscars. Netflix paid for it. We know that Mikey Madison took the Oscar for Best Actress. Here's the thing. I don't remember all the time I had how many Oscars in total that Emilia Pérez won. That thing they probably won some off camera or whatever, but I know that they won two. I think they might have won two. Yeah, I think they won two. Didn't they get like for best song or whatever, which I don't think they should have gotten it for. Those songs were terrible in that film, beyond awful. And Zoe Saldana won for best actress in a supporting role. So I feel like at the end of the day, to wrap this up, I don't think Bill should be speaking on something he knows nothing about on an award that his smug ass will never win. Like, I just feel like this, but then when it comes to this theory, he pulled this out of his wrinkled flat ass because quiet as is kept, his show hasn't been relevant in the last decade, which is when I told her I stopped watching. So I feel like he's pissed because his lame college tour brand of humor no longer flies in our current climate. So he's got to resort to these type of antics, as well as saying that Pennsylvania Democratic turncoat John Fetterman's sloppy lurch looking behind should run for president. But then you vote for him, because I sure ain't. People in Pennsylvania don't even like his ass. He ran against what's that other queen that allegedly went and was allegedly slept with a RuPaul's Drag Race girl, Dr. Oz. Yeah, I heard that story, sir. So it ain't just pussy. He be sticking his face in. He's a fan of the girls. Who's in charge of the girls? Allegedly. He's in charge of the girls, allegedly. So I also don't think he's, as I said before, he should be comparing no tweets to someone who's been shouting from the rooftops that he's a Nazi, which as a Jew, he should be vehemently against. So Anora won, even though I will say some people in my timeline did call it a snorer, which I did find hilarious. Anora won because it's a good movie. So me personally, and I've said this many times on this show, I do not understand how Emilia Pérez received so many nominations and ended up winning the best song category when it had some of the worst songs. But I feel like they were chosen because Hollywood. Now, if you want to play into the whole woke thing, I do feel like, but it's used incorrectly. I do feel like Emilia was chosen because Hollywood wants to appear as progressive and woke by throwing in a diverse movie into the Oscar category mix. But the problem with the movie is it's not a good one. So it's like, oh yeah, see how progressive we are. We nominated a horrible movie off Netflix about a trans woman. A man who transitions into a woman and tries to escape their whole past in the mob and all that other stuff. And it's like, great concept. Carla was good in it. The film was shit. There's so many other movies that you could have nominated that play into that whole diverse field. Emilia was not one of them. But of course, y'all needed a reason to get people to watch the show. And it worked. Not only that, but you did with Wicked. So, me personally, as I said before, I thought it was going to always go to either Mikey Madison or Demi Moore. Most people had their bets on Demi Moore. Apparently, it was Mikey Madison. But it would have been nice if you could have focused on other stuff to talk about. But of course, he wants to take something like he did with the whole John Fetterman thing or wokeism. And he likes to throw out certain little bells and whistles and don't really want to talk about the thing that we should be talking about. So, Bill, please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to, which I don't know what the hell that is, but 9 times out of 10, you don't know what the hell you're talking about on your own damn show. And I don't even understand how that's still on, but I guess because it's HBO, they just give everybody they throw everybody a little bone. So why you got, oh my God, what's the guy's name? John Oliver. Why you got John Oliver up there really spitting facts? They got to keep the other moron on. Because John, actually, I like his show. Bill is tired, through, delayed, and out of touch. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this story in regards of the BS-ness that he decided to talk about in regards of Emilia Pérez and why it didn't win against Anora? And why it didn't win the many Oscars that they said it was going to win. So I definitely want to hear from you. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Well, hold on now. We got a lot of comments. Yeah, everybody's saying that Demi should have gotten it. But like I said many times before, that, okay, so y'all skimmed her on this whole Oscar win. The real inclusionness of it all, I'm going to say the real DEI of it all. So we'll go with it. The real DEI of it all is that what her career will be like post-Oscar, ass kissing, the whole blow up, all that other stuff. Are y'all going to continue to give Demi Moore, roles with teeth post The Substance? Like, we want to still see her making more movies. We want to still see her in more stuff where, yeah, she's 60-something years old, but she don't look 60. So you can still use her and stuff. We should have to be dependent on Ryan Murphy to give her a job, as he likes to give women of a certain age. We want to see other studios step up and be like, you know what? She was so good in that film. This is not a fluke. Let's really use her and stuff and not be putting women of a certain age out the pasture. So that's what I want to see. Said Bernie Sanders is filling up, but yes, he is, because he's going around. And child, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on Gavin Newsom right now, because he had, oh my God, who was it that he had on his show recently that it was like his podcast? He said, oh, my son admires you and all this other stuff. But he's been going on with this whole anti-trans, anti-stuff rhetoric. And you got Newsom basically licking his ass crack. So, oh, yeah, we want to know how to win. y'all had a way of that y'all was winning at first, but y'all started calling the Republicans weird and all this other stuff, and then all of a sudden, they were like, oh no, y'all need to pull back a bit. So once you got Mr. DOA, the last president we had, Sleepy Joe, once you got his people up into her campaign and they started getting in the ear and sabotaging, that's why I said what y'all need to do is make sure whoever y'all get to be the next presidential person, keep them away from the campaign. We don't need the next Clinton. We don't need the next Barack Obama. You need somebody that's going to get up in there that copies the same way of Trump in this way. Somebody who's not afraid to tell it like it is, somebody who's not afraid to steamroll over these other lazy ass Democrats to show like, yeah, I'm here for the people. I don't want money from these robber barons. I don't want money from these corporations, that I really am caring about the people. So these small donations, that is what is going to get me where I need to go. We need to show that, yes, small donations from the American people is how you win races, not from no damn Jeff Bezos, not from ugly ass, the one that owned Meta. Not the thing, and he's Benson Boone all of a freaking sudden. We don't need Elon Apartheid Clyde with his leatherface looking ass. We don't need him trying to indoctrinate our political situation with his tight ass money and his missiles blowing up and all this other stuff. And that's why he's dismantling a lot of these things too, because these people that were investigating his missiles and all this, because remember, something blew up in January too. So that's what, Charlie Kirk, that's what it was. I don't know why I was like, yeah, when he had him over there, literally licking the crack his ass, and I'm sitting there looking at him to my son admires, my son likes, I'm like, wait a minute, now how you a whole politician, a governor of California, and your son is looking at Charlie Kirk? You have failed as a father. Just like Oliver Queen said, you have failed this city. You have failed as a father. So that I don't get. And yeah, this whole lot of thing going around is like, yeah, white men feeling out of place because they feel like, oh, we can't get a good paying job because of wokeness, because people of color get it. No, we're not. And 9 times out, if you actually looked up and did the research, women and people of color aren't the ones really benefiting from DEI and all the other things that we have coming out. It's mostly white folks. White women especially, and if you even look at people who are on food stamps, people who are on welfare, it's mostly white people. But they're not going to tell you that. Go down to Kentucky, which is supposed to be Mitch McConnell's district. You see how morally and financially bankrupt they are down there? But no, it's the trans people. It's the Mexicans. They're taking your jobs. So y'all about to go on the field and pick, and I'm going to say pick cotton. That'd be black folks back in, 400 years ago. But I was like, who picking them fruits? You ain't gonna see Sarah and Billy and Chandler out in the field picking strawberries. So stop with it. And if people gonna think that's racist, it's fucking not, because who is out there picking that shit? Y'all not gonna work $3 an hour sitting out in the goddamn sun picking fruit for 12 hours, no break. And that's what they want to do. They want to get rid of jobs and bring these other people in so they can do the job, so they don't have to pay you anything. This is the reality. But no, it's the trans people. It's Mexicans. They still know your jobs, really? And AI. Those are the ones stealing your jobs too. I expect nothing less from an old white liberal. Remember that Malcolm and Dr. King child? And you know how long ago that was? That was the 60s. And it said Bernie betrayed the people. He mobilized and took money. Yeah. And that was another thing too. It's like, besides the fact, and I knew he was going to come and I knew somebody was. And I was thinking I should have said this. I was like, besides the fact that there are things that he has done in AOC that have been relatively questionable, because I'm not going to all just like flat out support someone based on everything. Like, I'm not a blank follower of somebody. There have been things that Bernie has done. There have been things that AOC has done that have pissed me off. However, at this point, they're out here speaking, whereas you got the Hakeem Jeffries and all them just playing fucking possum. And then you got that other old one. What's his name? To my play possum, play dead. No, you already look dead. So you're not going to sit up out here and tell me to play dead. Oh yeah, let them just do. No, they're already ruining everything. So we're supposed to just sit there and put up with it, or would you want us to do hold up? fucking paddles. Because that's true democracy. That's true resistance. Let me hold up a paddle. Like, get out of here. Carla Sophia's racist tweets are gaggy as hell. Oh yeah, I read it. But I guess they feel like because if you translate, it's not about it's not as bad. Even Howard Stern reinvented himself to say, yeah, he did reinvent. He did reinvent himself, but he reinvented himself as likable. Yeah, I heard that too. They said Dr. Oz out here doing the girls, or the girls is penetrating. Well, I don't know if you said patronizing. I think you meant penetrating, but word on the street is they penetrating him. He ain't penetrating them. And you know them men that be like them uptight Republicans. You know they be the main ones that be cleaning out and taking it in the bud. Yes, what? Emilia, allegedly. Emilia, you know, I gotta protect myself. The one thing I learned about Wendy Williams, or learned from her, is allegedly on everything. Emilia is a musical about a drug lord who, yeah, I'm like, you didn't see it? Yeah, it's about a drug lord who transitions. And you know, the trans community, they was mad because they're not a true representation. Bitch, then what is? Because not everybody's story is a monolith. Trust and believe, there are people out here who, I'm not even gonna go there, but like, look, I don't know how people getting offended by the fact that, and I got the metaphors behind it. It was so like, yeah, just because you transition, and that's probably a thing you always wanted to do, but you use that opportunity for, you know, to escape your past to transition. But it's a metaphor on both sides. As a person, whether you a man or woman, whatever, you cannot escape your past. Look at Caitlyn Jenner, you know, think Miss Thing done transition, and she's still a see you next Tuesday. So you can transition to whatever you want, but you still a bitch. Just like we had with Emilia. You may have transitioned, and you may have all the little complications that was going on in your life, but at the end of the day, you still are who you are in the soul, on the inside. You just want the inside to present the outside, but you still that person that you once was. So I just like the double entendre metaphor of it all. The Oscar, well, child, quiet as it's kept. It is kind of trash. I just hate the overall pompousness of the Oscars. That's the thing that irritates me about them too. Yes, it is. I forget. It's supposed to come on one of the streaming services this month. I can't remember which one it is. I don't know if it's HBO or um Amazon. One of them. I can't remember which one. Bernie campaigning for killer. Child, yeah, I didn't understand that either. I would never do it if you could beat them, join them type situation, because they literally sabotage them. Because this whole thing about, well, it's their turn. No, you don't get to choose for us who we want. Even though I feel like that's what they did with the MAGA, but that they ain't got nothing to do with me because I'm not a part of that. But for the most part, I don't like the fact that Democrats was like, no, it's your turn because the people wanted Obama for 8 years, and we promised Hillary that she was going to become the president. But we ain't want her. We ain't want her then. We ain't want her when y'all wanted her to go. So y'all chose her, and then it was like, well, it's. And I think it was the plan was Joe Biden was supposed to become the president after him, but then of course it was Hillary. Well, it's your turn. So now they did him dirty to put her in place. She lost. Trump won. And then we want to do it. They did it again with him and Biden. Then Biden won. Now is this point. They didn't start up a primary because they was planning on trying to shoe him in for a 2-term situation. And I always tell people, just because you become the president, you are not guaranteed to do 2 terms. You should at least get through the 4 before you even think about doing an 8. And at that point, they wasn't even trying to bring in the next generation of who's going to be the next Democrat. So y'all set up in here was like, yeah, we're going to push Bernie. And mind you, his whole brain was deteriorating before our very eyes. And y'all were trying to hide him for the damn longest. And y'all knew the man was sick. You knew the man was unwell. And y'all was still trying to push him up on us. What y'all thought y'all was going to do, a weekend at Bernie's type situation? Where y'all was going to prop him up and have somebody be the ventriloquist dummy. They was going to stick their hand up his ass and make his mouth move. But then you going to hear the AI talking? Like y'all thought that was going to happen and we wasn't going to notice? And then y'all had Kamala, which a lot of people didn't like her, but some of the policies that she was pushing for, I did see there was an uptick. Then when they started putting Biden's people into her campaign and they started chirping in the ear and telling them to stand back a little bit, and even though she was going to be even more hardcore on the border, then Biden and Trump was, that's when all this mess started. And she started to lose. She should have stood on something. And then when she went on The View, don't even get me started on that. When she went on there and Sonny asked her that question, I think that's what really cost her the election. What were you going to do that was going to be different about it? Well, nothing seemed to come to mind. I don't give a good goddamn if somebody gave me an opportunity to become the vice president. If it come down to it, yes, my policy is going, thank you for, your contribution. Thank you for picking me as the VP. But at this point, I'm trying to become the P in the VP. So, these are my policies. I'm not trying to do what they doing over here. I need to separate myself from this whole situation. And if they feel like it's a throwing me under the bus, oh good goddamn, I don't care. Oh well, because y'all don't be hesitating from throwing people under the bus and sabotaging people's campaigns because y'all want to keep up with the status quo. So I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna do the same thing. And Kamala just kind of went along with it because she's a woman of color and everybody's got to take the when we go low, we go high, and all this stuff. And look where that gets you. It got us where we at now. So it is what it is. I did not mean to go on this whole political tangent, but y'all always taking me there. But it was like Bill Maher referred to himself as I can't stand that man. Can somebody take the brick, find the brick that Marsha P. Johnson threw at Stonewall and hit his ass with it? He's a moron. Right roles with substance. Exactly. I didn't want to use the substance as a metaphor, but it kind of goes with it, right? Jessica Lange left acting because Ryan Murphy only writes older women as horn dogs or repressed wife. Well, maybe because he's an old horn dog and a repressed wife. Although I am interested in seeing that new show that he has coming out with Nathan Lane and Matt Bomer, which is kind of like a gay version of The Golden Palace. I want to see that show. The trailer looked cute. I can't remember what the name of it is called, but I saw the trailer the other day. It's supposed to come on Hulu. It actually looks good. Trans people are being used as a punching bag. Absolutely. Well, we're gonna go on a whole trans story when we bring up Madonna later on. Gavin Newsom's grandpa wasn't intelligent. Oh, was he? Child. Not at pupil. I did like that movie though. Shout out to Brad Renfro, may he rest in peace, and Magneto, who was in that film. Someone who likes the working class, not vilifying people who want to work and save money, who want to have family. Yeah, because it's like we can barely keep our head above water at this point. He should register as the Green Party to show Jill. Yeah, not the Jill Steins trick. Oh, you already know there's going to be two people that got a problem with that. It's going to be Lady Bunny and Miguel, Miguel has a habit of, and Sailor Mermaid know who that is. Miguel has a habit of going in on people in my timeline and they be cussing each other. I'm like, child, I'm gonna stay out of it. But I did have to reel him in at one point because I was like, sir, I need you to let people have their opinion about politics and keep it respectful. That's what I always try to do with this show. I'm like, you can give your opinion on politics, but let's be respectful of stuff and don't just be going on calling people bootlickers and all that other stuff because it's a little polarizing. I know some people get real passionate when they talk about politics, but it's like, don't stop with the name calling because it just makes it feel like that you can't articulate stuff without the name calling. You can cuss. You can say those things because I always cuss. And I don't think that, and I hate when people go around and say, if you curse, that it shows a lack of intelligence, which is not true. There are a lot of smart people who use profanity. And they say it's a form of intelligence. And, I drop a F-bomb. It's hard for me to not curse on this damn show. I be trying though. No, you're not gonna bring up paddles, child. I've left many a deposit in that place or in someone in that place. Paddles is, I don't know, it's not called paddles anymore. But I do know they still have parties and stuff up in there. But the problem with them is they end their parties kind of early. They be ending at midnight. I used to be up in there until like 7 a.m. carrying. Right after I went to certain clubs in New York City. That's where the after party resides. Oh, ish. Ooh, bitch. Oh, I can't wait to see that one. Let me find out. Wait, so you said Wendy's going to be on The View and is devoted to just her to get her story out. 5 full days of Wendy on The View. So she's going to be on every day? Because if she's going to be on every day, trust and believe, my behind is going to be watching. I don't know. Well, I'll probably have to find the time because, I'm going to be busy all next week. And I'm going to try to see, between, a lot of the college games that's going to be going on. because it is March Madness, that I could try to squeeze in some shows. I'll have to figure out the time and setting up the show, the episodes and the clips. And I mean, doing all the stuff that we do normally. I got to figure out how I can manage that, because I know it's going to be doubles and triples, which means I won't be getting paid, even though I get paid anyway, but the money is going to be money. So, that's gonna be good though, and I really hope what they do, because if they get her story out, focus a lot of the show on pop culture, hot topics, see like how sharp she still is with certain topics, especially like because they don't even talk about Diddy on the show. I would love for them to ask her what her overall opinion is on that. So we know that Wendy is not 110% like how she was before, but if they're gonna allow this to go first, I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, how they manage that? Because she would have to get permission to get up out that conservative that place that she's staying at. So that's gonna be interesting. Okay, so you said it's gonna be on Hulu March 17th, because I was like, I couldn't remember which streaming service it was on, but thank you for letting me know. Bill Maher was hardcore anti-religion like 20 years ago, even made a document on plays. Oh, religionless? Yeah, I remember that foolishness. And how now he out here crying anti-Semitism. Yeah, because when you say that, it's part of the grift. The fact Trump had to sideline Musk because the cabinet pretty much was pissed off at him. Yeah, nobody likes him. Even the Supreme Court is getting mad at him because he was doing too much. It's almost like they're using this country as a springboard to like test the waters and push buttons. That's what they're doing. See how far they can get away with things. If you didn't catch it, Gavin's. Oh no, I caught it. That's why I didn't finish, because I got what you said. I was like, Anora was cute, but Best Picture, okay. Yeah, I didn't think it should have won Best Picture either, because like I said, some people say it's a snorer. Oh no, well, Onyx is in the building. He said you said I didn't like Mayhem. Well, look, I did my full Mayhem review in the beginning of the show. So if you want to rewind all the way back to the beginning, and once the show was done, and watch the clip for what I had to say, then But I have to agree. It was like I was like it's your typical, it's Gaga going back to form. Although the album is just, it's all right. But I did say one thing, and this is why I was hoping that you was been in the comments, because then you could have commented. I said right after I listened to that album, I listened to someone who I feel like gives me more mayhem than Gaga and Mayhem. I put on Cobra. I love me some Cobra. Like her overall visuals, her music, everything. I was just like, and even though she only dropped like EPs, her music gives me my life. And then she did a remix or an extended version of her last record. And she had Amanda Lepore on there. Now, bitch, anytime you put Amanda Lepore on anything, you already know I'm a fan. Because I love me some Amanda Lepore. Talk about a trans icon, I live for Amanda. That is Anora was my favorite out of all the Best Picture contenders. The Russian guy in the movie wasn't he mentioned by Robert Downey Jr. in the I think he also was nominated for Best Supporting Actor right before Macaulay's brother Kieran ended up taking it. Well, damn, nobody like Mayhem. I said, was it Mayhem or Mayhem? I think mostly everybody saying it was more Mayhem than Mayhem. Look, I already said the first half of the album is good. Then it's like once you get to the halfway point, I was so bored with a lot of the music. I'm like, now you're giving us these damn piano ballads. I'm like, girl, we got enough of that when you was working with Tony Bennett. We don't need no more. Yes, the ball rushing, But anyway, let's get back into the show because, as always, like once I start talking politics, this show just, takes on a mind of its own. But wait, what was the other comment? Oh, you said, yes, honey, met him. But anyway, so, all right, so let's get into Gene Hackman because, we've been talking about him on the show, but I feel like we need to wrap it up with a bow. So that way, in case, I'm sure y'all probably heard by now, but I wasn't able to talk about it at first because like I was doing the Dom Dollar show. So now it's officially out. And I happened to be it was on the TV. So I was like, oh, they're talking about the cause of death. And I didn't know what this thing was. So until someone explained it to me when I was working. So forensic experts have come to a hardening conclusion about the manner of death for actor Gene Hackman. They said he died of heart disease with complications from Alzheimer's on an empty stomach a week after a rare disease took the life of his wife at their home in Santa Fe. So both Hackman and wife Betsy Arakawa's death were found to be by natural causes, albeit 6 days apart. Dr. Heather Jarrell said that Arakawa likely died on February 11th from hantavirus pulmonary syndrome when they said that while Hackman died February 18th based on a pacemaker inflammation from heart disease with advanced Alzheimer's also a contributing factor. So yeah, he had Alzheimer's. She was taking care of him. And I guess when she died, he actually died days later because it's like, yeah, when you have Alzheimer's, you can't remember like to eat or do all certain things. So he probably was sitting there starving to death and was basically like fending for himself. And how does one with Alzheimer's fend for themselves? I couldn't even imagine being there all alone. It's just you, her, and the dogs. One of the dogs that died, though, they said was in a cage. But for people not knowing what this hantavirus pulmonary syndrome is, HPS, somebody told me that it has to do with rodents. That's what I was like, what is that? And one of my coworkers, because I guess a lot of them are from like Long Island, Jersey, that sort of thing, and they know all about that suburban life. So they were like, yeah, it's like a rodent-borne disease. So I'm like, oh, I guess, and I was thinking, I guess because of where they lived, it was in Santa Fe, so I guess they were up in the mountains. So you're dealing with like rodents, coyotes, that sort of thing, and she probably got the virus from that. I'm like, damn, what y'all had rats up in your house? So they said investigators also shared a timeline of what they believe was Arakawa's last day of life on February 11th. She was seen on surveillance video that day running errands, like going to a veterinarian. I don't know. I say it like that because one time I heard this. I don't remember where I heard it from. But somebody was like, "I don't eat meat because I'm a veterinarian." So that just popped in my head. So they said that she was running errands. So she went to the vet, a farmer's marker, and CVS and had an email conversation at some point in the day at 5:15 p.m. on February 11th. She used the clicker to access the private community where her and Hackman's house was. After that, there was no additional outgoing communication or activity, leading investigators to believe that she died on February 11th. There is no exact scientific method to pinpoint exact time of death. Hackman, investigators believe, died a week later on February 18th, with an autopsy revealing the primary cause was extensive heart disease along with advanced Alzheimer's. And it kind of makes me wonder if her doing all that traveling and stuff, if, because they said that she went to the vet, then she went to the pharmacy, and then she was the farmer's marker. I guess that's dealing, going to the vet and dealing with food and stuff. Maybe she picked up something along the way and brought it home and wound up sick and not realizing it. So then they also said, please do not share any other concrete details about Hackman's last week of life following his wife's death, though the medical examiner says Hackman had an empty stomach at the time of his death, so he probably starved to death. So they say hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, according to the Mayo Clinic, they got a clinic for white folks, is a rare infectious disease that begins with flu-like symptoms and progresses rapidly to more severe disease. So she probably ended, like I said, because the flu is like a silent killer. Sometimes that sucker will sneak up on you when you least expect it. She probably thought, oh, it's just the flu. I'm going to thug it out. I'm going to just lay down, that sort of thing. And then it probably was getting progressively worse. And remember, they said that she went into the bathroom. She was found in the bathroom. And then I guess she went and they said the pills were strewn all over the place. So she probably went to take some medication and then just succumbed to the virus. And because this is something like when I first heard about it, I never heard of hantavirus. So they said it could lead to life-threatening lung and heart problems. The disease is usually caused by inhaling hantaviruses that have become airborne from rodent urine, droppings, or saliva. It's unclear how Arakawa became infected or if she was aware of her infection prior to her death. So unless you had like rodents around your house or when she went down to the vet, maybe that's when she got it. Because if you go around and if you go into a vet, I wonder how clean them places are. I mean, they should be, right? So now on February 26th, the actor, his wife of 34 years, and their dog were found dead in the home of Santa Fe, New Mexico, according to Santa Fe County Sheriff Ada Mendoza. The dog who died was in a crate following a veterinary procedure days earlier, and investigators noted that dogs cannot be carriers of HPS. So I don't think so. Like they said, the dogs can be carriers. She didn't get it from the dog, so she probably got it at the vet because She left the dog in the cage, or she probably had. Well, I don't know. She probably got it from. Had to get it from somewhere. I wish we knew exactly like where what her daily routine was that she ended up catching it. But it's like, yeah, when you're dealing with mouse droppings, all this stuff, you got to be real careful when it comes to cleaning all that up because you don't want to. I didn't even know you can get diseases from that. So yeah, now that we know this, then we know it's absolutely correct that no foul play was suspected as a factor. Which I didn't think that's what that was. I was just genuinely curious, like, okay, what happened? I thought maybe she died. He died because he was old, and she died of a broken heart. That's what I actually thought. But I'm a fan of Gene Hackman. I've always liked a lot of his movies. I even saw recently, I think on Amazon Prime, The French Connection and the sequel is actually up. So I was going to actually watch that today, but then I was like, oh, I got to give y'all a show. So I was going to actually take the time to just, relax and watch some old movies because I just love like old classic films. And one of the favorites, I always liked Gene Hackman. So I always liked The French Connection, so many other movies that he's done. So I was going to actually do that today. I still might. So yeah, so that's the latest on Gene Hackman and his wife. May they rest in peace and all that good stuff. So I definitely want to hear from you. What do you guys think of this story and the latest regarding Gene Hackman and his cause of death, along with his wife's cause of death? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. All right, good. Lil Nas X releasing a brand new single. Hopefully it's good. Because I've been disappointed with Lil Nas X, especially um a lot of I feel like the antics outweigh the music. Same thing what I said about Lady Gaga in my early video, which was on my early review, that I feel like the hype, whoever her team is that be hyping her up and all these other, oh, it's inspired by Paris is Burning. I'm like, I ain't get nothing Paris is Burning from that damn album. The only thing I got from Paris is Burning was the Abracadabra music video where you had a little bit of voguing and, just a little duck walk situation where you had Honey Balenciaga up in there carrying some. But other than that, there was no ballroom inspiration. It's like you just throw out certain buzzwords just to get these, Bushwick queens all excited. Because those are the demographic for the Lady Gaga type, the hipster queens who want to act like that they're all, oh, we're gothic, oh, we're edgy and we're rock and roll. I'm like, yeah, y'all are giving me Glee version of what that whole world is like of like the goth kids. Y'all are giving me the glee version of that. Like y'all are not about that life. Like trust and believe, Chris was hanging out with goth kids. I was hanging out with the kids that listen to Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson and Suzie and the Banshees and artists like that. So I'm running around here trying to do. I'm like, yeah, you basically giving me the Disney-fied, the Lullaby of Broadway version of what Gaga was trying to give with Mayhem. And when you listen to the album, it gives nothing of what this whole hype was about. So the hype was bigger than the bark was bigger than his bite, which is why I found this meme funny where they had like where I was like Lady Gaga promoting Mayhem. I posted on my Facebook. I should have posted on my Twitter too. Lady Gaga performing Mayhem or promoting Mayhem, and they had like this demonic wolf with like his teeth showing, and then they said, actually listening to Mayhem, and it literally showed like a little German Shepherd type of dog, a golden retriever. Actually, it wasn't a German; it was a golden retriever, and it was hilarious. I was like, yeah, this is definitely what this album is. It was like it was supposed to be dark, it's supposed to be goth, but it's like, girl, you giving golden retriever tease. This story is really sad. That's what I was saying, like, too, is like you wandering around, your wife's dead, you have Alzheimer's, you don't know what to do because it's like your brain is doing what it's doing. So it's just like, damn, you're dying a slow death and there's nobody there to help you. And then the staff at the home was gone in that 2-week period. So like he's dying a slow death, she died a sudden death, and then he's trying to fend for himself. And then you have one of the other dogs that died a slow death too, of starvation inside of the kennel. But the other 2 dogs were okay. The misleading aesthetics is what ruined the album for me. Yeah, that's what I was basically getting to. It's like she was acting like, see, now everybody's gonna be calling Mayhem was going to be Born This Way 2.0. She played industrial beats to fans in Paris. No one was expecting a disco album. Yeah, they was expecting actual disco. So it's like you misled your fans. We'll see how long that lasts on the charts. Y'all think that she's going to be #1? Because I think she will. I don't think Tate McRae is going to be #1 again. If she is, that would shock the hell out of me. Or some people said that Kendrick is going back to #1. So I don't like a single new song from the album, and I even like Disease once I heard the album. So it took you listen to the album, like, oh yeah, Disease is actually. It says sorry to put my 2 cents in. Oh, damn, that was quick. But no, look, it don't matter the placement. I've had people come in and they be like a little delayed. I'm like, oh, you watching the playback, or you went rewind that a little bit. I'm like, I'll respond still. It's a live chat. It's so sad his not being able to remember to eat or take his yeah. That's another thing too. It's like, damn, that would be like scary that you as somebody who suffers from Alzheimer's and is like you have to fend for yourself, like there's no one there to actually help you. I couldn't imagine. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, Chad. Um, my biggest problem was the writing and the overall vision. She's pushing 40 and the songs sound like they're written by a teen. Well, look, quiet as it's kept, it did say in a lot of notes that she wrote a lot of the songs. So there's the problem. Like me, I have no problem being like, you know what? I want a co-writer. Like, hook me up with Leland or Justin Tranter. Let's get in the studio. I got some ideas. Let's write. I don't mind co-writing. I don't understand why people make it like it's a problem to get a co-writer. But and weird part is I don't even know if you saw my earlier video, I mean my earlier review, but I did say that she should have hired Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. The one album I'm so mad that we got away with, I mean that never happened, was Aaliyah always wanted to work with Trent Reznor. I would have loved to hear an Aaliyah album produced by Trent Reznor. I know that would have been epic because her music sonically sounded a little bit like that, but it was a little more futuristic. But I would have loved for Aaliyah to work with Trent Reznor. She was a huge Nine Inch Nails fan, and that's what made me fall in love with her even more. But what else was the thing I said? Oh yeah, I was like, look, girl, if you gonna sit up out here and try to rip off David Bowie, the thing you should have listened to, you should have listened to his album Earthling, because remember that album was produced by Trent Reznor. I remember buying the "I'm Afraid of Americans" maxi single, and he said, not the Glee version. He has definitely given Glee doing cosplay of goth. Real goths don't shout. Yeah. Well, yeah, they always say you shouldn't wash your jeans. You know who said that also they don't wash their jeans? And I'm like, and you a whole homeless. Sure. Anderson Cooper. They said real gods don't shower or wash their clothes because black phase. Also, where are the self-harm, not the self-harm squad? Remember when Marilyn Manson was big on cutting? That used to like, nobody well, my brother was big into cutting when he was a teenager. I was like, I wasn't gonna spread his business, but I don't like his ass. I'm gonna tell y'all. But it said when the Cure played Coachella, the Goths were out in full drag. Okay. And I was like, you would not see me out in that old desert heat in black, but you know that's what they're gonna be wearing when she performs Mayhem, or as we like to say, Mayhem there. Instead of Bye Felicia, Billboard 200 is being late now, so something is happening. Oh, okay. What you think is gonna be some scamation? She also had her boyfriend listed as a writer. Gives me Britney Jean Tease, where Britney was listed on each track as a writer. And it's like, yeah, Britney, if that's not your wheelhouse, then you shouldn't be hiring people to actually write your stuff. I mean, you shouldn't be writing your own stuff. Just get a co-writer. Also, I feel like even if you're not a good songwriter, you can tell a songwriter, you can get in a room with a writer, tell them your ideas, tell them what you're thinking and all this stuff, and be like, and they form it into a song. That is technically you writing the song because you're letting them into, you're speaking to them, you're giving them insight into who you are. That is a writer credit. And even if you have little ideas, throw out a line here or there, you should get a writing credit for that. Not like some people who other people write the songs and you just put and the in there and you thinking you're going to get a writing credit for that. I was so disappointed when Zombie Boy wasn't a song about the. That's what I thought the song was going to be about. I thought Zombie Boy was about Zombie Boy, the one that was in the Born This Way video. That should have been that should have been the whole thing. You paid tribute to him in that. She gave some excuse. I don't know what song it was. She was like, "Oh, well, I wasn't thinking about it singing to a werewolf." I'm like, get off my line with this foolishness. Now I do feel like we need somebody who needs to come out with a Halloween based album, kind of like Mariah Carey's The Queen of Christmas. We need something like that. I know Kim Petras did some Halloween situation once, but I need somebody else to step up to the mantle for that. I would wear black all the time in high school, and I loved the mall goth look with my long metalhead hair too. But my style has changed since then, as it should. It should evolve. And to me, I don't even feel like her looks are giving goth. It's kind of giving Hot Topics grunge. That's what it's giving. But anyway. Are we being shady? No, just is. All right, so y'all, let's move on. Let's talk about the diddler, because you know a day can't go by when we don't talk about him. And the fact that the feds are going in on him because remember he tried to cry racism and all this other stuff for why his he is where he is. No, because you're an asshole. That's why you are where you are. And the chickens have come home to roost. But and of course I had to put that picture of him up with old emaciated ass Al Sharpton. But they said that and you know his trial is coming up in 2 months because we're already in March. It's coming up in May. So it's 2 months before Sean the Diddler Combs' trafficking trial begins in New York. The U.S. Attorney's Office brought down a new charge against the All About the Benjamins performer and shoved back hard on the former mini mogul's efforts. Why is he a mini mogul? To have evidence held by a federal agent squashed. The S2 indictment contains no new charged offenses, but includes additional allegations related to the racketeering conspiracy charged in court. What he said, count 1, a short accompanying letter to Thursday's superseding indictment says. This is the second superseding indictment against Combs since his arrest last fall, saying, quote, specifically the S2 indictment contains additional allegations as to the means and methods of the racketeering enterprise related to forced labor. Now, according to prosecutors, one of the ways the forced labor was indicted was Combs demanding sex with staff. These employees do to believe they would be. Wait, they messed up on that line. They said these employees to believe. Now, don't be up in here thinking I can't read. I'm going by, you know what, Rolling Stone. Did y'all lay off the people? Because the proofread is definitely needed. I think they meant these employees were led to believe they would be harmed, including by losing their jobs if they did not comply with his demands. The latest indictment explains that. See, I got to go fill it in the damn blanks. At one point, the document filed in federal court gives very specific with its new claim with respect to one employee. Combs used physical force, psychological harm, financial harm, and reputational harm and/or threats of the same to cause the employees to engage in fornicating acts. Now, Combs was arrested. Okay, we don't need to go into that. We already know he's been arrested and why he's been arrested. Y'all just love letting us know that. And yeah, so May 5th is when his trial starts. And you know, he's already in Brooklyn at the Metropolitan Detention Center. So they also, of course, his team had to reveal the latest, and they said the same thing they always say. Mr. Combs has said it before and will say it again. He vehemently denies the accusations made by the SDNY. Co-lead lawyer Mark Agnafilo said in a statement after the new indictment came down. He looks forward to this day in court where it will become clear that he has never forced anyone to engage in acts against their will. Many former employees stand by his side, prepared to attest to the situation. Well, I can't wait until this trial starts. Or as RuPaul would say, I can't wait to see how this turns out. So that way, boo these former employees that his people probably paid off to testify on his behalf. But we'll see. So now, the SDNY also filed for Judge Arun Subramanian their response to Combs's hope to strip some wide-ranging evidence from the case. Say, in an attempt to suppress powerful electronic evidence of his guilt, the defendant makes 2 challenges to the search warrants authorizing the evidence seizure. Asserts the government's opposition to Combs' motion to suppress that he called the so-called unconstitutionally broad warrants in a February 23rd filing, saying neither challenge meets the demanding standard for suppression and the motion should be denied without a hearing. Now, signed off by 2 different judges, the warrants were used on the raids last spring on the much-accused Bad Boy Records founders' LA and Miami homes. Thursday, busy prosecutors in the turbulent SDNY office tried to stick a judicial shiv in Combs' notion to suppress. Not a shiv. Isn't that what they use in jail? So y'all had to use jail terminology. So they said the defendant fails to demonstrate that there were intentional mistreatments or misstatements, or omissions in the affidavits, and that those misstatements or omissions were material. So basically, they're saying that there's unsupported assumptions about the government's access to and knowledge of facts at particular points at the time during the long-term investigation. So this is a bunch of lawyer jargon, and they're trying to get things thrown out. And he's got a whole bunch of cases against him of assault, abuse, the R word, and more. There's, he's also, remember, he's suing NBC for $100 million for defamation because of the Diddy making of a bad boy documentary that's on Peacock. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going around. This is about to be messy. I don't see him getting. I heard somebody at my job spread this lie talking about R. Kelly was released from prison. I'm like, no, he wasn't. You clearly must got dyslexia, or you got an app on your phone that lied to you. Because R. Kelly was not released from no damn prison. He has a podcast and he was singing and stuff on there, but he ain't getting out. Just like the Diddler ass ain't getting out either. So y'all can pull as many stunts, y'all can pull as much as y'all want in regards to this whole situation. His behind ain't going no damn way. He gonna be locked up for a long time. I'll say until he take his last damn breath. So I want to hear from y'all. That is the latest. You already know, like within the next 2 months before the trial begins, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot more stuff coming out about the Diddler and his latest little shenanigans. So I want to hear from y'all. What do you think of this latest story regarding Diddy and saying that they want to reject? He wants to reject some of the stuff. He wants to reject certain evidence that's going to be used against him in the court of law. But the feds is saying, sir, this latest little stunt that you're trying to pull, and there's been many, Diddy and his team have been trying to pull thus far, is not going to cut it. And you're not getting away with it like you're trying to get away with it. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Oh my God, I totally forgot to mention to y'all when we was talking about Wendy Williams. They said that because she fired her recent attorney or something or another, she wants to hire the one that got ASAP Rocky off out of his pow situation, his case. She wants to hire him to handle her guardianship. That'd be a good move. There's people out here dying to represent Wendy Williams, so I would go along with it. It's a hot topic shade when they started selling Gaga and promote her Monster Ball tour. That's when they sold out as a store. I still be reaching into my goth bag. Okay, nice skinny puppy puss. That's another, some more iconic goth music. And y'all should be listening to some Skinty Puppy. Gaga should listen to Skinny Puppy's Two Dog Park instead of the cheap imitations of Yeah. I like Violator. But yeah, Depeche Mode was more or less, they were a little more mainstream. So she probably don't know nothing about no damn Skinny Puppy because she wasn't listening to that. She probably listened to it on the jukebox when somebody played it up in the bars that she was hanging out with. But she wasn't listening to no damn Skinny Puppy. All right, y'all. So now let's move on and let's get into this Kandi Burruss news because Miss Mamas is being sued for not paying her back rent on one of her restaurants. So shout out to you, Miss Mamas. Oh, and I heard a recent thing about what the hell's her name? Kim Zolciak was doing an interview with Kristen Cavallari, and she was laying out some crocodile tears over her and Croy. But this is not about them. Let's get into this. So apparently, Kandi and I believe her husband Todd is facing a new lawsuit because they haven't been paying a rent at her Blaze Steak and Seafood restaurant on Cascade Road in Southwest Atlanta. So the landlord of Burruss's restaurant, Blaze Steak and Seafood, has filed a suit against the former Real Housewives of Atlanta personality and her restaurant groups, alleging they owe about $154,000 in past due rent and other charges and did not maintain the property under terms of their lease. Now, according to a complaint filed by Fulton County State Court, Burruss and the restaurant companies breached the lease by failing to pay certain charges when they became due and failing to maintain the premises. The amount of defendants owe includes about $56,500 for repairs to the premise and a 10% overhead fee. Neither Burruss nor the company of legal counsel immediately responded to requests for comment on Wednesday or Thursday morning, saying the landlord of the property is Montego Pacific Inc., a corporation registered in California. Reps for Montego declined to comment. Property manager Bridger Properties did not respond to a request for comment. Now, Burruss, one of the longest-serving cast members on RHOA, opened Blaze along Cascade Road in Southwest Atlanta in 2020 with her husband, Todd Tucker. The restaurant is one of 2 full-time restaurants the couple owns because, of course, they have Old Lady Gang. But here's the thing. We're going to talk about this. Didn't people say the food nasty? Look, Tamar Braxton said the food nasty, and quiet as it's kept, there's a lot of people from Atlanta said the food's not good, and the fact that they only go and the service is bad and all kinds of other stuff. I don't know if this is the same situation, but I'm like, if you running your Old Lady Gang the way you are running Blaze, I would not be surprised. But I definitely want to hear in the comments if Blaze is doing, what y'all experiences was eat that Blaze. But if she is withholding payments, it probably is due to the upkeep of the place. Maybe there was issues with the place that she's running out. Maybe there's issues with the plumbing. Maybe there's issues with things that's falling apart up in there, and she's trying to get the landlord to handle what they need to be handling, and they not doing what needs to be done. So she's like, if it comes down to it, I'm not going to give y'all a dime until things get worked on in this place. So maybe that's the reason why she's withholding money and hasn't been paying her rent. So they said the lawsuit doesn't specify if Blaze is still operational. The restaurant's social media pages haven't been updated in months. Its website displays different hours from Yelp, and the website Resy no longer allows users to make reservations. So is it still in business or no? Because the way it sounded like it might not be in business anymore. One review on TripAdvisor posted in July said she discovered the restaurant was closed after she received a text message confirming her reservations for that night. The most recent health inspection score for the restaurant that the Atlanta Journal-Constitution could find is dated December 2023. There was no signage of the restaurant indicating it has closed, and an AJC reporter on Tuesday noticed some signs of life scattered around the premises. So what are y'all talking about? So is it open or not? Or is it the fact that you got squatters hiding out in the restaurant? They said 2 half-full Starbucks cups and a cleaning rag were observed on the bar. Unfurled napkins were on tables, but the windows were dirty and the faux grass affixed to walls of the outdoor patio appears to be peeling off. Burruss and her companies owe rent on the property through March, according to a billing statement included in the complaint. The complaint includes multiple invoices from 2 restoration companies dated between September and October. One totaling $29,235 is for repairs following microbial remediation in the kitchen and prep area. Another totaling around $24,580 is for repairs related to water damage. Another totaling $17,390 is for remediation because of visible microbial growth throughout the kitchen and prep area. Child, you would not pay me enough money in the world to eat at that place. I wonder if Keith Lee actually ate there. Because remember, he's been giving reviews of people's stuff, and it don't be too kind, and people get mad at him over that. But I'm like, look, it ain't his fault that he way more entertaining than these actual food critics. Don't hate the player, hate the game is what I say. So they said there's also another invoice totaling $4,734 for restoration and remodeling related to water damage. The invoice is dated to July of 2024. So this is not the first time Blaze Steak and Seafood has faced issues from conditions of the kitchen. About 4 years ago, the restaurant received a health inspection score of, not 55, which is considered a failure. Blaze shut down, and me working in the restaurant business, yeah, they absolutely right. Like once upon a time, yeah, I did work in a restaurant. Blaze, 55 is bad. Blaze shut down to address the issue. The inspector cited and reopened 2 days later. The low score was an accumulation of largely minor issues such as pink organic residue in ice makers, a Chick-fil-A cup in an area with regular food supplies, and a food handler switching from raw seafood to ready-to-eat foods without washing hands. Now, if y'all end up with any kind of disease, a little salmonella or whatever the case is, like I said, I didn't read this article. I'm reading it in real time along with y'all. You couldn't pay me enough to eat in any place that Kandi is running. And it's no shade. I'm just saying, there's been so many bad things said about her in regards of her restaurants and stuff. And this is another thing that I don't like either. I'm about sick of these celebrities running around jumping into businesses that they don't have any experience in or know anything about. If you don't know about the like food industry, food and bev industry, don't jump into an industry because you think, oh, it'd be so cute for me to run a restaurant. But if you're not following the simple protocols, especially when it comes to like OSHA, food, your food handlers license that you should be having. If you're gonna be dealing with food, yeah, you do need to wash your hands. You should not be using the same gloves to go transition it from rawness to cooked stuff. You need to take the gloves off, wash your hands, switch the gloves to a new pair of clean gloves. Make sure your hands is washed, as I said before. Don't be touching your face. Don't use your apron to wipe your face or whatever the case is, because that's germs. Like, don't do crazy stuff like that. That's how you lose points. So you would think they would know this, but they don't. So the restaurant's most recent health score data in late 2023 is 93, according to the records of the Georgia Department of Public Health. So under the terms of the lease included in the complaint, the tenant must perform all maintenance as well as make and pay. Oh, so that's what it is. So I thought it might have been an issue, like, okay, the place falling apart. She should have been doing. I think maybe she thought, I guess I actually don't, because I don't know. I never dealt with that aspect of it. I wasn't somebody that was running a restaurant or whatever the case is. So I don't know what those situations is. I didn't know that she was going to have to foot the bill. But I guess that is what it is. If you own a business, you have to foot the bill to fix whatever is fixing around it, because your whole goal is you are renting the space. So, and it's the same thing like if you work in Madison Square Garden, we're providing you the space. You bring in the stage equipment, the electronic equipment, the speakers, the lights, the pyro. We provide the space where you can put the pyro, but you got to bring the pyro and the fire and all that other stuff in, the confetti. That's all you. And I think that's the same thing with this place. You were renting the spot. You have to fix all the stuff. So maybe what it was with Kandi, and she be out here hustling hard. Maybe she got in over her head where you're opening two restaurants and not realizing that, yeah, you got to, any kind of thing that breaks down, and that's like if you're going to own a home, you have to find the money to fix whatever issue you have in your house. Same thing with a business. So yeah, so they said, that she had to pay for all repairs to the premises. If the tenant fails to make repairs, the landlord can do so, but the tenant must reimburse them for all costs incurred with an additional 10% overhead charge. The lease also allows the landlord to recover a late fee of 5% of the past due amount each time the tenant fails to pay rent and other charges by the first day of the month. All sums remaining unpaid, when due, accrue interest of 12% per year. According to the complaint, the landlord is allowing the defendants to avoid liability to pay the landlord's attorney fees and other expenses of litigation by paying the past due rent within 10 days of the date then they were served. Damn, Kandi, this sounds messy. Well, all I can say on this is good luck, because this is way out my jurisdiction. But hopefully you work it out, sis. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards to all? Because I'm like, I didn't realize it's messy. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. He's messy. Not Kandi and Todd. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of Kandi and Todd. After watching Old Lady Gang, I would be a fool to ever eat it. Okay. Because that's what turned me off of that. Look, this goes to show, like, when you come down to your business, why y'all think it's a great idea, don't record y'all stuff for the reality TV. When they did that reality TV show with Old Lady Guys, like, you couldn't pay me to eat there. Just like when they did SWV and Escape, that show made us dislike Latasha even more so, because I didn't like her then, before the reality show. But then we were still, when it was confirmed with all the stuff that she was on, I said, now I really don't like her. Okay. I said, yeah, you could not pay me enough to eat up in that place. Cause I'm like, you talking about all that stuff y'all was finding, and then the failed scoring of the restaurant. Because yeah, you do have to go through your yearly inspection when they come in. I remember they did that one time in Madison Square Garden. when they had their yearly experiment with that, so they good now. I was so mad because all they had up in there to eat was hot dogs. And it was like they couldn't make anything because it was like, yeah, because they're being inspected by the food inspector, they couldn't cook nothing. So all we had was some damn boiled hot dogs. Like, well, if I would have known that, I'd have got me something to eat from Popeyes or Shake Shack. I would have went somewhere else before I came into the building. Because I usually go to the cafeteria, and the cafeteria food is, well, the the break room, whatever you want to call it. They got some real good food up in there, and it's cheap too. All right, now let's get into this mess. So let's talk about this girl that's clearly, you know what? I feel for this youth because may this be a lesson learned. And hopefully, a lot of y'all will learn from her mistake. Hopefully she learned from her mistake, but I highly doubt it. So let's talk about Miss Twerkalicious. So an Alaska Airlines flight attendant named Nelly Diala has been dismissed following the circulation of a TikTok video in which he was seen twerking aboard an aircraft. Now, Nelly recently joined Inside Edition, where she tearfully reflected with Ann Mercogliano about being terminated from Alaska Airlines after uploading a clip on TikTok while she was twerking. She said, I didn't think to be so happy to turn into something like this. They just said that I broke their social media policy. I was really proud of myself that I came so far. I just didn't think that my video and my post and the way I was dancing would be deemed as inappropriate. She continued on saying, you put out such a proud face every time I stepped on that plane. And for them to terminate me without giving me a chance, it was just unfair. Now, here's the thing, sis. End scene. Now I'm going to go get into your ass because this bitch had the nerve to jump on the line and launch a GoFundMe and said that she initially recorded the video to celebrate reaching the end of her probationary period. Now, they said they collected, I guess she collected $3,312. She was trying to put up a $12,000 goal. First of all, any of y'all that sent her some money, y'all a damn fool because here's the thing. She posted a video, soundtrack by Ghetto, by EKE featuring True Card, was captioned Ghetto Big Till I Die. Don't let the uniform fool you, and updated to reflect, saying can't even be yourself anymore without the world being so sensitive. Well, here's the thing, dummy. Because that's clearly what you are. You a dummy, bitch, in the words of Monique up in Precious. Do y'all not read the books that y'all get when y'all go through orientation? Y'all don't read, like, what y'all think that's just something y'all wipe y'all ass with? Y'all think they just print that paper out for shits and giggles? Y'all supposed to actually read it. When you open up, the book to know, like, what the rules and regulations are, you're supposed to know the things that you can and cannot do. Let me give you an example. I work at Madison Square Garden. We're not allowed to film, take pictures. We're not allowed to take pictures with celebrities. We're not allowed to film footage of concerts or whatever the case is because we're supposed to be working. We're dealing with the public. So we cannot be up in here filming, taking pictures, all this other stuff. If you do, that is grounds for termination. I've seen many of people get fired because they want to go and take video of a concert, or they want to take video, or they want to get a picture with their favorite athlete or their favorite celebrity or whatever. And I'm working with celebrities all the damn time. So this is not allowed. That is the policy because somebody can, and this happened one time, I kid you not. And this is why I don't like James Franco. But I managed to write an article on him years later. He don't like my ass because of it. But this was happening years after. So when I'm working at AMC, he was there to do like a Q&A for a screening, whatever. So a manager and I believe two regular employees went and was like, can we get pictures or whatever the case was? He was game. He took the photos. As soon as it was all done, he went and complained about them taking the picture or wanted a photo. They were fired. So y'all have to read the fine print of those books. Those books is not there, and that's not tissue for you to wipe your ass with. That actually the stuff that was put in place, these policies are there for a reason. And when you're working for a company, you are not your own boss, ma'am. So when you are working for a company, you have to abide by their rules. So yes, you broke the rule. Why are you moving your clappers on TikTok because you celebrating your probation period. And you know what? I don't want to go too hard on her because I feel like this younger generation, they didn't grow up like we grew up. I grew up in a time before internet. So I guess I would be considered a dinosaur. But look, the internet is like what? I mean, the way it's evolved now was like 20 years or whatever the case, but I know it's much older than that. But the internet has evolved into something that is just like, yeah, this new generation, they film everything. Everything has to be a moment. They birthday, they got a promotion, they got this, they got that, they got to put it on social media. But you doing all of this in your uniform, you're on public property, you're on or company property, you're in your uniform, and this is what you're doing. Sidebar: wasn't there a time where there was somebody that got fired for getting hunched by Austin Wolf? He was a flight attendant, and Austin filmed him banging out this child in his uniform on the plane. So they was doing a scene on the Maher Club, but he had the uniform on. And we've seen many situations like this before, where people be in their company uniform. There was another child that be all over Twitter, and people be reading her. She had a job at Target. She had a job at Starbucks, always got her ass out there. She be doing adult performances and stuff on social media. But he was always in his uniform, had his behind out. There was one time they showed he was, and this is homosexual stuff, so I gotta add that up in here too because it relates to this. You in your full uniform doing shenanigans, and then you wonder why you're fired. So you literally are in your company clothes. I can understand it was you a porn star and you doing fantasy stuff, but you in your work clothes. If I'm at work, I'm not putting what I'm doing at work. Now, that's why I come on here and tell y'all the stuff that goes down at the events that I work. And you just got to take my word for it. But no, I don't go asking for pictures. I don't record. I don't do video. I don't do any of that stuff because I like my job. I value what I do. So I'm not going to go out here and ruin and mess up my chances because I want to uptick in views or a moment in the spotlight. And this is what happens when you live in a culture where people crave all kinds of attention and they look for validation through the illusion of social media because we live in the matrix, apparently. So you sitting up here crying, setting up GoFundMe's like you a wounded dog, cuter in the arms of an angel, because that's clearly what she wants. She wants her Sarah McLachlan moment. Let's give it to her. And you thinking this is cute or whatever. It's like, no, you violated the rules. You were in the wrong. But you market it as, well, I was just celebrating the moment. I came in and had a milestone. And now people being snowflakes. Well, guess what, sis? When you run your own plane, when you run your own airline situation, when you have your own company, then you can make up the rules on what they are in your company. But when you're working for them other people, you are an employee, sis. So let this be a lesson. And if you go and twerk at another damn job, don't be surprised if this be the second outcome. So, you know what they say about people that do the same thing over and over and expect a different result? And that's what she giving. Full on insanity. So while I understand your side, you have to understand this ain't about you. This is the business. You violating company rules. This is what happens. This is why reading is fundamental, and y'all need to actually start reading them booklets that y'all get in orientation so that way you know the rules. I know it might be boring, but if you want to keep your job and you love your job, you're going to read it from cover to cover or at least get the cliff notes. Ask your coworkers what the rules are. Sometimes that's better than reading them books alone. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Do y'all think she was in the right, or do you think the company was wrong, or do you just think like, you know what, Chad, she just young and dumb, and let this be a lesson learned that, you know what, when you own your own little business, then you can make up the rules on what they should be. Excuse me. Until you do that, you just got to abide by the rules that the company is requiring of you to follow. So I want to hear from you also. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. She would get the donkey of the day, child, if I was Charlemagne. It's like social media and cloud seeking is really dumbing people. That part. It's just literally like it's common sense. Like, child. And you said this girl was messy. It's about as bad as the flight attendant. Bitch, would y'all get out my head? I was literally, I mean, see, I tell you, I do not read the comments until I am done. Like, I don't even, I have to click over. Like, there's a whole bunch. I know y'all don't see the bells and the whistles and things when you producing a show by yourself. It's like, y'all don't be seeing this stuff. So when I'm talking, I really do not, I see y'all comments being added in, but I don't get to see them until I click over. Once I exit out the, the lower third and I move over, then it's like, okay, let me read the comments. And y'all always up in here, greater minds, when we talked about Austin Wolf. So that's funny. This girl was that. So you said, and that's why I said, child. He was up in here hooking up with a flight attendant, and didn't that man lose his job? And Austin said he was gonna blur out his face, and he didn't do it because he an asshole. And look where he at now, in jail. And Austin didn't even blur out the attendant's face and uniform to present him. But yeah, because he was a dick. Him and his 6'4", 4-inch dick having ass was caring about, because it is little, was exposing for views. He didn't care about that child. Like, at least have respect for the models that you're using. But he was a dick. That's why his ass is in jail. That's why he's locked up. And they ain't gonna let his ass out. I just can't wait till they wrap all this mess up so we can move on with our lives. We can finally get a date. But anyway, let's move on, y'all. And let's talk about DDG, who is spilling tea about his baby mama, because he said he went on social media to reveal that she ain't allowing him to see Halo. And here we go, being being invited in the people's group chat. And we didn't even ask to be added in, but since y'all want to assert us in the group chat, let's continue to be nosy. So Halle Bailey's ex claimed he has been fighting for months to see their son Halo in a bombshell tweet that has since been deleted. The former couple, who welcomed their baby 3 days before Christmas in 2023, worked together for 3 years before their split last October. It's probably that damn baby that caused y'all to split up. Now, initially, they appear to have developed an amicable co-parenting equation, which I didn't believe. But now we see why. So I always know when my gut be telling me, But here's the thing about DDG. That boy always felt a little clout chasey, opportunistic to me, and she was so damn dumb, because you know how these good girls get with these bad boys. It's like, wear your damn condom when if you girls gonna get y'all backs blown out. And even if you don't like the feel of plastic, which a lot of people don't, quiet as it's kept, the gays don't and the straights don't, then you should have re-upped on your birth control if you want to go with raw dog. But she didn't do that. So now this is what you are. You stuck with this man, and y'all stuck with a baby. And now it seemed like, and I think if she's doing all of this because, remember when he went on and brought the baby on Casanat podcast, and she was mad over the fact that he's parading a child around in these places in public, and she's been trying to keep the baby as private as possible. And I know some people are gonna be like, well, how's she trying to keep the baby private? She posting the pictures all over social media. But that's an amicable thing. That's something they agreed on. If they as a couple are taking photos, and I have plenty of photos where I've seen Halle and him with the baby together and not separate, unless there is some way they are separate. Let me know in the chat, because I can't keep track of every little minute thing that people are doing on social media. But from what I noticed, that they've always taken photos with the baby together. So if they're doing that and they want to show you on social media so y'all don't be harassing her and hounding her for a picture of the child, if she's walking down the street with the baby in a stroller, I'm gonna post the baby's pictures on social media so that way I get to control the narrative. But maybe this is her way of getting back at him. But I say this, I hope that's not true, because one thing I can't stand, but this seems like this might be more of the women that do this. A lot of you women do like to weaponize your children when you mad at your man. I'm all for, if the father wants to be in the child's life, let the father be in the child's life, unless he's doing some harmful mess like that damn apartheid Clyde, aka Elon Musk. In case some of y'all don't even know, outside of the normal cipher of people that watch the show who don't know what I mean when I'm talking about apartheid Clyde. I'm talking about Elon over there at Twitter. So unless you're doing something where you just doing some low down dirtiness with your kids, then I'm like, let the father be in the child's life if they are stepping up to the plate and wanted to be a father to their children or child. So he took to Twitter and said, been fighting to see my son for months now. Shout to all the dads who try their best to be there. This ish sucks. Although he deleted the tweet, he still began one of the daily live streams and doubled down on his accusations, threatening to take the matter to court. Well, here's the thing, sir. You should have been did that instead of jumping on the group chat or as in social media. That's what I like to call social media, the group chat, and asserting us into something that ain't got nothing to do with us. I understand, like, you know what, this is the new generation type situation where a lot of y'all feel like you're at the end of your rope. You have nobody who you can confide in. You don't know what to do. So it's like when I'm at my wits' end, when I'm mad, when my back is against the wall, then I'm gonna just jump on social media and lash out. This is why the legal system exists. I would hit you up first, be like, look, I'm trying to see my son. Miley was good. Like, if this situation, like, but if she ignoring your text, if she playing possum in a situation, if she being low key shady, then it's like, okay, bitch, now I'm about to get my lawyer on the line. I'm about to take you to court, and it's about to go down. I don't care if I got to spend a little coin just because I want to go see my kid. Like, if I'm trying to see my child, let me see my child. Don't try to weaponize this baby against me. Because here's the thing that's gonna happen. Eventually, y'all be up in here poisoning y'all kids, but yo, daddy ain't shit. And you ain't said that when you had them legs up to Jesus. And now you in a situation where it's like you mad, and now you trying to poison and weaponize your son against him. He gonna grow up to resent you when he found out the truth. So if this young man, and even though I ain't that damn old, but I just like calling people young man. It just sounds good on paper. So I just like, if he is willing to step up to the plate and he is there trying to take care of his kid, let him be a father to his son. Don't be up in here being all mad and bitter and then weaponize your child against, his father. So what else is that? So he said he claimed that he did not want to get on the internet because at the end of the day, this is something that can really F with him, referring to his son. Well, you did, Blanche. You did get on the internet. He said, but I'm really just coming on this MFer as just a dad that really don't know what to do at this point. I've been dealing with it since he's been born, damn near, claimed DDG. He said, I really feel like I'm at I'm a effing nanny at this point. The nanny has been able to have my son more than me, and I don't even he said, I don't even know the nanny name. He insisted the following. He said, it's just not fair, bro. So I have to come on here and I got to do this ish, but I got to do it like this. Added that he now has to go to court, do all this extra ish when it ain't got to be like that, bro. Now, reminding his audience that he does daily live streams, he declared with obvious exasperation that every day I don't see my son, I'ma number it. Let's see. I know she gonna let me see my son now. This is the only way. At another point on the stream, he said, behind closed doors, I have not been able to see my son. Only if we on perfect terms and she around, it's cool. But if we not, I don't get to see him. And then he said, every time I'm on here, I got a smile on his face. He happy to see me, but he only can see me for no more than 48 hours. I haven't had to have my son to myself no longer than 72 hours max. And he getting picked up, taken away. I can't come get him, whatever. It's like, I don't know what to do at this point. And genuinely don't know what to do. Well, let me tell you what to do. You already had the plan. You already had the idea. You said that you're going to have to take it to court. So go take it to court. Get us out the group chat. Stop going on social media saying that stuff because you don't want to say something that could be used against you. They probably will be starting to use social media tweets and stuff. And I know you're at your wits' end. I know you're getting emotional. I know you're pissed. I know you feel, I understand that your audience also, because you do live streams. He and I do pretty much the same thing. Like we're online talking, doing our, he does his show, I do mine. So you have that rapport with your audience when you're talking back and forth. So I understand being personable and wanting to lash out and say things to your audience, and maybe they can help you with ideas. Because sometimes when you got that tunnel vision and you mad about stuff, you don't see the forest for the trees, and then you be backed up against the wall, and I can understand why he's lashing out. But like I said, and we talked about it before, this younger generation, all they know is, because they didn't grow up like we did, where there was pre-internet, so we could be private, or we had to handle things old school. But with him, it's like social media. But no, everything is not meant for social media. You want to be able, like, if you had a good case, regardless if she is being vindictive and doing things to keep you from your kid, And then, like I said, you need to go on. So you need to go get you a lawyer, tell them the situation, have your evidence, take it to family court. So that way there could be something put in place where you could actually have access to your son, because he is getting at that age. What is he, like a year old? Once they're gonna get to that period where they're real impressionable. Them terrible twos is right around the corner. So there's that. But like I said before, I do feel like maybe she is probably punishing him. And she did say she has severe postpartum, so I don't know if she's had that dealt with. Also, remember that she was mad at him for, like I said, taking the kid on Casanat's show, where Halle said he didn't even get her permission. So maybe this is, like I said, her way of punishing him. And she probably looks at it as, I'm protecting my child because you want to parade him out here like he a damn toy or a Bratz doll or a Cabbage Patch, whatever you want to call it. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regarding of DDG and Halle Bailey and their drama with their son? Hopefully they work it out. I say take it to court, let the lawyers and stuff deal with it if y'all can't come to an amicable type situation. And I feel like also DDG, you saying what you said, like, well, I bet you she gonna let me see him now after, now that I put it out on blast. Don't let this be the only way that you can get her to pay attention to you, that you got to take it to social media and then she's like, okay, now you exposing me and you making people see a side of me that I've been trying to keep, like I'm this wholesome, good girl type, but I really be on some other stuff behind the scenes. Now that you expose me, now I gotta go and be like, okay, now I'm letting him see his kid and I'm presenting and doing all this other stuff, because there's always three sides to a story. It's her side, it's his side, and it's somewhere in the middle, it's the truth. So even if she lets you see your kid, I say still get the lawyers involved, because you don't want to be like, oh well, I got to see him for 72 hours and now we back to square one where I'm still fighting to see my kid again. So still get the lawyers involved. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Oh, damn it. Garagle's in the building. Congratulations on the marriage. I heard you got married. I'm nosy. I be knowing everything. Because I'm friends with her stepsister. She was raised right. She just looking out for the best. You said, you talking about you friends with Halle Bailey. Okay, well, thank you for the thing. They found Trudeau's replacement. I gotta look in to see who that is. He is such a Libra. Want to play? Oh, them Libras are so damn dramatic. Poor James Kennedy having to apologize. He said he doesn't live on. He's such a damn liar. And James Kennedy has been problematic. If y'all watch Vanderpump Rules, he is so damn dramatic in regards of a lot of stuff he's done. And then he recently got called out, not too long ago, for beating on his girlfriend. So, and shout out to Jax. He came out here. He's 100 days sober, because he said he had a booger sugar addiction. I looked at him and I was like, I could definitely tell that you be powdering your nose, sir. Out about them is through kids. Notice he's putting a business out there and Halle isn't. Not to mention he has the funds to go to court. That's why I said, it was like, you got the money. So take it to court. Stop going on social media and trying to paint a narrative where it's like she looks bad. But I'm like, yeah, if she's doing all these things you claim, take it to court. Don't be up in here and just weaponize it and saying stuff on social media because you want attention. There's always been something low-key shady that I've always felt about DDG. First of all, he was out here dropping little crumbs that she was pregnant when she was trying to keep a secret. When he was going live and would point the camera in certain directions, when you can kind of see that she was with child. So Diddy ain't no damn saint. He be on his little fuck shit too. But anyway. How many more topics we got, y'all? So we got 3-ish, maybe 4, because we got 2 RuPaul's Drag Race S-type comments, but I might merge it into one. So I'll say this, before we get to our final 4 or 3.5 S topics, if y'all have not already, please do me a solid and hit that like button and that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash that notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I'll also be putting in timestamps throughout the show, so that way we can get through, you know, if you don't want to sit through the live chat banter, but we're going to talk about all the things going on in celebrity news and gossip. You can just go and skip right to those comments, or not even comments, skip through the comments, and just get right to the clips of some of the hot topics that we'll be talking about. All right, y'all. So without further ado, let's get into this Danta story because, you know, Madonna, who has always been an advocate for the LGBTQIA, LMNOP, QRSTUV, WSYZ community, is windmilling hard for the trans. And she's come out and starting support. I've also heard that she's in like some little love fest with Carla Sofia Gascon. It's like, girl, you just looking to her for, you know, because she's a little controversial. Because, you know, people are not really feeling Carla at this point. But anyway, let's get into it. So, you know, Madonna, as I like to say, has once again come out swinging for the LGBTQ plus community after decrying the orange assholes anti-trans executive orders. Now, after spending much of her career advocating on behalf of the homosexual community, pop icon Madonna is speaking out against the mistreatment of trans people everywhere. Now, in a post to her Instagram stories on Thursday, March 6th, Madonna shared her candid thoughts on the current wave of anti-trans extremism making its way around the globe, saying, quote, "It breaks my heart to witness the pain of trans people who are not accepted by a society that fears them because they are different. How can we know what it feels like? Have we walked in their shoes?" The Ray of Light singer went on to call out politicians and pundits, specifically in the U.S., leading the charge in the weaponization of ignorance against the community, saying the lynch mob mentality is at an all-time high. She continued by adding that those participating in the public denigration of trans people identities was equally disheartening. The excitement people get from watching people go down or be silenced, be blacklisted, is disturbing, she wrote. The environment we get from other people's pain is a sin. Now, closing out her thoughts, Madonna instead encouraged her followers to focus on lifting people up and supporting anyone who is striving to be a better version of themselves. The star's comments come as Trump's administration continues to dismantle federal protections for the trans community. Among a long list of things the president has done to attack trans folks since he took office, once again in January, are a series of executive orders, because that's his favorite thing to do. I know he's got carpal tunnel syndrome for all the amount of signing he's been doing as of late. And so those executive orders call for a complete ban on trans officers serving in the military, removing federal funding for gender-affirming care for minors, and issuing a nationwide ban on trans athletes competing in women's school sports, which is less than 10 people that are competing in these sports. And then you already know the whole thing about when I had to go on Nutmeg McCain. I ain't trying to do a round two of that. Y'all can go back and watch the last episode if you want to hear me read her wide back ass down to the floor. But we've had a lot of this other stuff. I've been saying for the longest that, you know, a lot of this administration, what they're trying to do is blame trans people, blame immigrants for why our world is the way it is. It's trans people's fault that you're losing your jobs and your healthcare is and your rent is too high and egg prices is going up. It's the trans people's fault. When it's the robber barons and these corporate oligarchs that are the ones that are distracting you while they raid, you know, the chest. They raid our, you know, they dismantle what's left of our economy so they could just sell it off in pieces to, you know, all these rich, wealthy folks. And we up in here fighting with each other. Trans people are not your enemy. So we need more people like Madonna and most recently Lady Gaga at the Grammys and so many others to speak up on against, you know, the anti-trans propaganda that's being spread in corporate media. Instead of people just trying to follow his side of BS because like we don't want to get on his bad side. Every side is his bad side. We can't let a bully win. We can't let a bully go around just you know, saying the negative things that they've been saying against people. Trans people just want to live their life and be left the hell alone. I don't know why people are just like so caught up in what other people are doing. If these people aren't hurting you, if they're not affecting what's going on in your daily life, I always say live and let live. And so that's what I've always loved about Madonna is that she's always spoken out against the marginalized even back when it wasn't popular. Now there's a lot of people that's doing it now because it's the cute thing to do, but for the most part, she's always been at the forefront of speaking truth into power and going against the establishment. Even though you would think that she is a part of the establishment, but she's always been a punk rebel girl at heart. So shout out to you, Madonna, and that's why you continue to be an ally to the community. So I definitely want to hear from you all. What do you guys think of the latest, what Madonna had to say in regards to this mob mentality against trans people who are just a small fracture of our country? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. It's like I hit that premature. Disney has canceled press and red carpet premieres. Well, they should. That movie's probably terrible. And Bob Iger has basically yelled at Rachel Ziegler, blaming her for leaving people with a bang. Well, look, they said the prediction for the numbers for the movie is going to do it's going to do pretty decent at the box office. So people are going to show up and see it. I'm not. The movie looks terrible. I don't know how you cast Gal Gadot as the Wicked Witch. She don't. I mean, as the evil queen. She don't give me that. Rachel Ziegler, I'm just like, okay, whatever. Them CGI dwarves is just a choice. And I just don't care about Snow White. And I feel like at the end of the day, there's people outside of the whole Disney bubble that are going to go see this movie, especially because, oh, Snow White. And then, they've got parents who got kids. They're going to take them to go see the movie. So the movie will do well. So I don't know why Bob is getting all, shifty in regards of everything. I just feel like that people who aren't paying attention to all this like we are going to go see it. I'll definitely keep track of the film when does it come out this week? I'll keep track of the numbers and see how well it does at the box office. Me, I personally don't care, but I'll go see it. Oh, we still look. That was, I can't even defend that. It's like, yeah, I didn't particularly care for Guy Ritchie, but whatever. But look, she divorced his ass, and I know she's still mad at his ass. He took half her goddamn money. Well, not half. She had to pay him, I think, $100 million in the divorce settlement. And why she had to add a lot more dates on one of her tours because she had to make that money back. That's one of the things I like about Madonna. She's consistent when it comes to supporting the LGBTQ community. And if somebody was about to run and say some mess like, oh, here she go copying up a Lady Gaga, I'm like, now look, y'all like to use the internet for everything else except Google. Google's the first thing that probably, well, unless you got something else, Safari, but Google pops up on everybody's computer. You could Google is your friend. You could type it in and see when she started advocating for the community. So I hope people don't come in and try to say that mess. How is Ass going to blame Rachel for the fault of corporate meddling and their poor decisions to make poor piss live action? Yeah, because that movie looked terrible. Especially those CGI dwarves. It's because Peter Dinklage, 4'2" ass, decided to complain. I'm like, sir, you should be happy your ass got a job in Hollywood. But now all of a sudden you want to come in with you're being disrespectful to dwarf. I'm like, they're part of the franchise. What are you talking about? And I like Peter Dinklage, but you're doing too much. He gives me like crotchety little man tease, like Napoleon complex. If any should be upset, Bob should. Well, look, he's about to retire soon, and he want to find his successor. We'll say, I agreed. I definitely liked Charlize Theron as the evil queen. I didn't like Angelina Jolie as Maleficent, and I didn't like those movies, but I liked her in it. Guy Ritchie, but that's what people want now, fully clothed. I'm loving the Grammy saying Madonna is showing people how to age. And look, Madonna is somebody who is way too self-assured, way too powerful. She's better off alone. Speaking of which, they played that song last night. Well, Dom Dollar did. Had the whole, place jumping. But that song, I'll tell you, if there's one thing about Alice DJ, that song will forever be iconic. And so many people have remade that song ever since. But anyway, all right, y'all. Look, the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's get into this drag race recap because, I got a whole lot to say on this. And it was living for, I would have to say, this one had been the messiest episode that I think that we've gotten from Drag Race in this whole season so far. I don't want to say in Drag Race history because there's been 17 seasons. 16 years the show's been on. So basically when we left off, Corey King went home because she did not do well in the Betsy Johnson sewing challenge. And so now we had the girls coming back into the room, Lydia, Lexi, Jules, Arrietty, where they had their standout looks. Jules Sparkles, who won. Now after all that was done and Lydia Butthole wiped off the mirror, which they said that was the least amount that Corey has said in the whole season, which I thought was cute or whatever. So now it's like we get to a point, it's like, okay, so now Lydia was saved. She got to slay another day, or live to slay another day, as Rue has said in past shows. I think that was over there on the All Stars. Now she's got to prove herself that she's more than just, a bottom bitch on the show and in the bedroom to Corey. So the new episode, now it's they got to do a comedy episode. But first, let's get into the Badunkadunk challenge, because Michelle actually came into the workroom and brought back the whole Badunkadunk tank, which I was glad to look. They got to put it to good use. They could have just had them 2 times that Michelle got dunked. I love the fact that any question that they ask, courtesy of Entertainment Weekly, who always gets the exclusives, and we do have an exclusive from Entertainment Weekly regarding something that happened within the whole drama between Arrietty and Jules, which we're definitely going to get into when we break down this episode. So all the girls, regardless of what they said, they was getting done. But it was cute when she asked Arrietty, "Are you a top or bottom?" She was like, "Wait," and then got. And then, so it was a cute little segment. I found it funny. There was about, Michelle was being shady. Michelle was being Michelle. But I was like, they was going to have fun. Regardless of who it was, I'm going to wet all you bitches. So I was living for that. So then, of course, afterwards, the main challenge was a villain's roast, which they were going to roast some of the 3 most iconic villains of the show. So Mistress Isabel Brooks, Plain Jane, and Candy Muse, which I was looking for the both of them. And, we'll get into some of the jokes, of course, when we break down the whole situation. So Lydia knows at this day that she has to swing big. Jules won last week's Maxi Challenge, as y'all know, so she had to pick the order of, and we all knew that was going to happen because we've seen many times when we watch Drag Race that whoever wins the previous show, they always get to end up picking the order if they're going to do some type of roast. And I've always relatively lived for the roast and all this other stuff, and this one was kind of good. I said kind of good. And I'm going to let y'all know who my faves and my least faves was, but it probably all matches with everybody's. But I definitely want to hear from you guys who your favorite and least faves was also. So the queens, head over to the table, as you can see in the picture, and Jules asked each of the queens where they want to be put, like which order they want to be put in. So the deliberations go on. Anya says that she wants to probably go second, or I think she said she wanted to go second or something or another. She actually opened. So then Arrietty was second, then Jules, then Lana, then Sam, then Lydia, then Suzie, and basically Lexi closed the show. Now here's the thing, what I didn't understand. Lexi said, "I want to close the show." Jules gave her that. But she got mad because she had to close the show, but Suzie was put before her. Then after all of that, you had Arrietty get pissed because she's like, "Oh, you put me second because I wanted to actually go 4th or 5th. But then you put yourself after me," saying that Jules actually put her after Arrietty. And she felt a way about it because she's like, "Oh, you trying to sabotage me because I don't do well in these type of challenges. And so now you're going to put yourself behind, like after me because like regardless of where you put me, you want to do slightly better." Which I call BS on. Now, on one hand, I was like, you know what, Jules, it was a little messy in the account of like, yeah, you felt like, well, I wouldn't look as bad as if I went after Arrietty, because we all know that Arrietty is nothing more than a look queen. She doesn't bring anything else to the table. And when Anya said that in Untucked, bitch, I tell you, I fell out my chair because I've been saying this for the longest. Yes, Arrietty's a cutie. I hit it, trust and believe. But outside of that, You're just nothing more than a pretty face. You're someone that brings fashion and glamour to the show. But that's not all RuPaul's Drag Race is about. You can't just be up in here being a look queen and that's it. If that's the case, audition for a show called Look Queen. Audition for, if they ever made a drag show based on Project Runway alone, just with drag queens, then you could audition for that and I'm sure you would eat. But if you're going to come on Drag Race, I don't understand how we 17 seasons in and y'all still have not understood the fact that, yes, when you do these shows, you have to be well-rounded in certain situations. I'm not saying that everybody's going to excel at every challenge, but y'all know when you sign on to do this show, there may be a roast, there's going to be a fashion challenge, Snatch Game is going to be a part of it, there is a reading challenge, there are so many different things. There's going to be an acting challenge, which of course we saw is going to be next week's episode. There's going to be all these things in here. If you thought that you were just going to come on and be dragged up and be pretty and show clothes on a runway, if you thought that's what the show is, did you just start watching the show last season? I could understand if this was season 2 or season 3, where with Tyra Sanchez was season 2 and Roger was season 3. I could understand if you came in around that time because the show is relatively fresh. The show is almost 2 decades in the game. We've been almost indoctrinated with Drag Race for almost 20 years. There is no excuse. So I didn't understand her with that. And also I was wholeheartedly agreeing. It don't matter where you place. It don't matter if you open. It don't matter if you close. It don't matter if you came in 5th and 6th, as people like Lana Jarrett, Sam Starr, and who's the Lydia showed you. It don't matter where they was placed. They ate during their comedy routines. But it don't matter where you are because you already set yourself up for failure. And that's exactly what Arrietty did. She said, oh, I'm not good at these things. And then try to hold it. Well, I'm mad because you put yourself after me. So what would it have mattered? If you went 3rd and Lana went after you, you still would have been upset? I mean, it doesn't matter. Whatever your routine was, it shouldn't matter where you're placed. The jokes are going to joke. So this whole placement don't mean shit. Because at one point, Suzie was gathered after Lydia got up there and read the floor down, had everybody in stitches. And she went after her. She was like, oh shit, I didn't realize she was going to eat the way she ate. So she was shooketh. But the good thing about her is that she was safe. She was funny enough, but she didn't eat. But I feel like I'm jumping a little bit, but I just felt like, yeah, we had to get into that because I had to lay all that out. But the one thing I thought was relatively interesting, they did like a little table read, which I thought was cute. I was like, oh, y'all doing like a little table read where y'all have, which is what actors pretty much do if you do like a sitcom or whatever the case was. You have everybody around the table and they read off whatever. So they were doing that with the comedy routine, which I think they should do that from now on. If they ever do roast, instead of having them come out how they used to individually on the runway and stand at the mic and let the judges know what the jokes are. But you want to know something? Maybe they need to go back to the old routine because then we wouldn't have situations where Arrietty did, where she was so mad at Jules for what she did, she was like, oh, I'm going to steal two of her jokes. And I'm going to actually deliver her jokes before her to throw her off her game. And that was clever the way the edit did, where it was like Lana Jarrett was not funny with one of her jokes. But then when she got up on that stage and she was, when she did what she did, she had us cackling. Well, I laughed. I thought she was funny. So, she went and pulled that ultimate sin that she went and stole her jokes. So now it's the day of the roast. And Sam is basically feeling confident, especially because so many of the queens are pissed about their place in the order. So then you had Lydia counting on her delusional confidence. And then she's saying, I'm pretty excited. And, it's like, you get to live the fantasy. We all knew you was going to excel. But then we heard the jokes. I'm like, okay, girl, you was all right. Like, you wasn't you didn't give us Jinx Monsoon when she did the roast during the All-Star season, where she had me literally in tears with a lot of the jokes that she was saying. So, of course, the tension in the room is thick because people are mad, particularly Lexi and Arrietty are still pissed. You can cut the tension with a sword. That's how thick it was. So then Arrietty was so in her damn feelings that she decided to move stations because she didn't want to argue with Jules. And Jules was trying to clear the air. Arrietty didn't want to hear it. Then Lexi decided to jump in and she, and she went off and was talking with Suzie and Lana. And they had to remind her, well, more or less Lana, but Suzie was agreeing at one point. She was like, but you asked her for the position. You literally said you wanted to go last, but now you mad because Suzie is going before you and you have to close. The opener and the closer are always the strongest because the opener sets the mood. The closer has to hit the ball out of the park. So she's mad over that, which I don't understand. But yet again, Lexi is getting in her head and she's allowing her insecurities, or as it's called, her inner saboteur, to overtake her, which had her messing up throughout the whole situation before we even get to the roast. So then, at one point, the tension is so bad. Jules was trying to explain the reasoning to Arrietty. Arrietty was still in her feelings. Then Lexi was running around a damn thong, trying on her wig, then taking it off and being in her feelings and being dismissive. So then, Arrietty basically went off on her. Anya whispers to Jules that basically you have wrecked these bitches, which caused Lexi to kind of go off. And she was over there cackling. I said, she is me, because I'd have been doing the same thing. Girl, you done got under these girls' skin. You got these bitches shook. And I definitely would have let out a devilish cackle. So then, of course, that set Lexi off. They was like, oh, why you laughing? Why you laughing, though? Why you laughing, though? And then she basically told them why she was laughing. So then we get to the main stage, which I will say for the first time in a while, I definitely was living for Rue's look. Where it was like that long dress ensemble, and she was tucked for the guards. Yeah, that meat and potatoes was snatched. I was like, okay, that's a good tuck, Miss Honey. So then we got to the main stage where we have Michelle, T.S. Madison, and Whitney Cummings. Now, I don't know if y'all are aware, but there's a bit of controversy surrounding Whitney Cummings. There have been people that have been on social media that are pissed off that they had her come on there because she has made anti-gay and anti-trans jokes on social media. And here's the thing with me. I don't mind a crude joke. I'm all for roast. I love a roast. That's why I love people like Joan Rivers. May she rest in peace. I love jokes from Lady Bunny, and I love jokes from Bianca Del Rio, which, sidebar, I said, why didn't they have someone like a Bianca Del Rio be the judge for this show? But of course, RuPaul is the type that doesn't want to be upstaged by fellow drag race icons, unless y'all a lip sync assassin or it's something like what you see here where they're being roasted. But to sit alongside them on a panel, she ain't doing that. Because I would have been like, if anybody could really be a roast master and let them know what it's like to roast a bitch and in drag, and it be a living they actually make money from, would be Bianca Del Rio. So to me, that was a missed opportunity. That's who they should have had up there instead of Whitney Cummings. You pick somebody who, but people also have to realize this show, I don't know how far back the tweets and stuff go, or if she said something way further back than some of the things that she said, but the show was filmed last summer. So I don't know if they would have, I don't think they could have did like edit around her or whatever the case is. Like, we're not gonna have her they're not gonna be able to do her like they did, oh my god, a Sherry Pie type situation. I almost forgot her damn name. It's like, we're not gonna have a Sherry Pie type situation. You can't edit around her. But yeah, they could have looked at that. I'm sure there's some queer comedians out there that do roast. I can't think of one. But the only one, like I said, I can think of is Bianca Del Rio. But I don't think she would have had Lady Bunny on, because Lady Bunny was saying so much stuff about RuPaul on social media. She's like, I'm not going to have you on my show. And Lady Bunny's doing her own thing too, so she's good. So yeah, so they basically had Whitney up there. And yeah, so she was a bit of a controversial choice. Now, I didn't know about this until I started doing research. Because I was like, I know Whitney Cummings. Like, I knew her from, Chelsea Lately. That's where I was mostly knowing her from. But I know she's like a failed sitcom actress. Where it's like every time her shows have gone to pilot, it don't get picked up. Then she's done shows that they get canceled after a season. She's also appeared on Joe Rogan's podcast. He's a hardcore propagandist, and he only goes, he's a grifter. So her going on Joe Rogan's show where he says all kinds of crazy stuff for a check, that's a bit controversial too. So how is it that you mingling with the homosexuals in drag knowing some of the stuff you said on social media. And like I said, when you make jokes or whatever, you got to be able to deliver them in a clever way. You being like, oh, well, you can't say nothing funny anymore. It's like, no, when you got to punch down or you got to say things where it's like you're deliberately just being mean spirited towards, marginalized people, that to me is not comedy. What's comedy, it would be when we get to Lydia Boho Collins, where, she made her little joke about the oscillating fan, where she basically said about Mistress, the oscillating fan joke. I don't remember exactly what it was word for word. When she made the oscillating fan, I'm like, okay, now that was a clever fat joke, which I did see a tweet that Mistress, and if y'all notice, y'all seen pictures of Mistress where she has lost a lot of weight. Kandi lost a lot of weight too, because I told you I saw her at the RuPaul's Drag Race season 17 premiere in New York. She was on the red carpet. We was, in the same facility together. So yeah, she lost a lot of weight. Mistress recently lost a whole lot of weight because we haven't really been seeing her. And she said, when y'all watch tonight's episode, you know why I lost all this weight. Because it was like, yeah, they were going in a bit too much with the fat jokes. And I'm all for a fat joke, but like I said, you got to be clever with the reads. You got to be the roast and the gags. You have to be clever with it. And to me, a lot of the girls, I felt like a lot of y'all fat jokes was tired. It was lazy. It was not creative. So basically the roast opened and with Anya. And she does a good job roasting the villains. Her thing it was passive enough, hence why she was ended up being safe. So I wasn't mad at Ru for making her safe, because definitely, what, Anya is a strong contender. I definitely see her in the top 4. Then you had Arrietty get up there, and she was child, it was so painful. It was so painful watching. Like, I wanted to fast forward, but I was like, no, I got to stick it out because I need to see the moment where she was like, where Jules was like, this bitch done stole my jokes. Now here's the thing: if you're gonna plagiarize me, if you're gonna sabotage, if you're gonna steal my jokes, the least you could do is at least deliver them correctly. Study them, memorize them. At least don't fuck up my jokes. Like, you could even deliver the stolen jokes correctly. And then Mistress had to get up there, sound it out. But she was like she couldn't say the word. Like, she kept stumbling with words. Sound it out, girl. Sound it out. But I did love that last read where it was like, you better learn to lip sync, because bitch, you gonna be in the bottom too. When she said that, I was like, ciao. So yeah. So then, like I said, so Ariana got up there, was stumbling over the material. Her jokes weren't funny. She got in her head. She already set herself up to failure. The minute you go, I'm not good at this, I'm not a jokester. When you start out your show listing off your insecurities and your weakness, you've already set yourself up for failure. You never do that. You've already set yourself up for failure, and you've already become off-putting to the audience. So now they're uncomfortable. But that read that Sam said about what she wanted to do with Arrietty, like watching her performance, I did cackle at that. Then it was like, yeah. Then you saw, like, Jules said that when she stole some of her jokes, and she was pissed because she had to go next. So then Jules got up there, and she did get a laugh out, in the beginning. But then after that, it was just like, fuck. Now it's like my jokes are failing. But the funny part is, you stole from somebody whose jokes was the funny. I could have understood if you stole from Lana Jarre, but she wouldn't do that because that's her sister. But Lana's jokes was funny. And that was what surprised everybody. I thought but the only advice I would give Lana, I did feel like at points she was rushing through her jokes. So I was like, just take your time with them, with the delivery. Like, I loved how Lydia delivered her jokes. It was a little deadpan, and she paced it, and she took time. Like, it's all in the timing. It felt like you were trying to rush to get through it. I feel like they would have landed a lot harder if you would have really taken the time to pace with the jokes and figure out the timing of it all. It was like you were just trying to power through it and not realizing how funny you were. And she was funny. So I definitely think, like, Lana should keep it up with that, because she's a funny chick. And I think she may have realized, she may have tapped into a hidden talent she didn't know she had. So then Sam got up there, got a lot of laughs, particularly the thing about bless your heart, disease. When she said that, bitch, I tell you, I died. I cried. I almost lost my marbles. I need to be resuscitated. Like I was officially done. So then, what else? Because I told you I got notes. So then of course, then Lydia gets up there and she made a joke about the judges and she did a good job with all her jokes and her delivery. Everybody was cackling. Suzie got up there and was expected to lift the energy because she thought that Lydia was not gonna eat, but so she stumbled a little bit and she pulled it out. I said, look, so y'all mad about placements and all this other stuff, especially Lexi and Arrietty, but I'm like, damn, even Suzie got gooped for a second. Um, And then Susie's jokes, they were a little mean, but they did land though. And then Lexi got up there when she made the comment about having no friends and all this other stuff. She got so in her head that she stumbled, but she got saved because I love the fact that Rue did put it up against Arrietty and Jules. So then we get to the fashions, and I did like the fact that the girls got up there, the roasters, the ones who were being roasted, and they roasted the other girls, and then they go in and do, I'm that bitch, I'm that bitch. I live for that damn song. I tell you, I still be watching that, the clip of the girls from that season, and I do love, I do like a lot of the raps and stuff that was from there, like Widow Von Du. I like her verse is like actually one of my favorites from I'm That Bitch. What happened to Widow Von Du? We haven't seen her in a minute, but I was living for her when she was on the show. So then we get to the runway, which the category is who wears short shorts. And the queens were running in their teeniest shorts. I didn't really like Anya's look because I understand it was like the whole shorts when you try to have it up to your neck. Like the girls back in the day, they would wear like what do you call them, like the poom poom shorts, and literally like you could see the outline of their lips, the menorah and the majora, and they be up in their ass. I could understand what she was going for with that, but I didn't particularly like the overall design of it. Susie's outfit was cute. I was living for Arrietty because I did write like what was my favorites. So my favorite tops in regards of the looks was I liked Arrietty's. I like Lexi's, but I need her to retire them damn trains that she be wearing because all her outfits got trains on them. Sam Star's I like too because it was like a play on football but make a drag. Now the ones that I did think that was cute, I did like Lana Geray's look because it was based on the Naomi Campbell D squared look from the 90s. But I feel like if she would have dragged it up a little bit and exaggerated, it's like, yeah, you could be inspired by a fashion look because you are the fashion girl, but make a drag similar to what Sam Starr did with the football situation. But it was just too on the nose. And then I'm also sick of Lana. I know she's supposed to be the fashion girl, but she be giving boy in her look. Like, where's your titties? At least put a little beast things up in there. Even if you don't want to do like full on, mammoth Pam Anderson breasts. I'm not saying you got to go ginormous, but get a little something up in there. So yeah, those are my favorites. But for me, my tops for the drag girls, I like Sam Starr. I thought she was she was funny. Lydia was funny. Lana Geray was funny. Good enough, I would say, with Suzie and Anya, which is why they made them safe. And of course, the bottom was pretty obvious. It was Arrietty, Jules, and Lexi. But I knew Lexi was going to get saved because for dramatic purposes and everything was going on, Jules and Arrietty made sense. Now, as far as like the judges, what they had to say, Michelle basically told Arrietty that she started well, but soon as she stumbled, the whole set came crashing down. Tiaz basically said her look is her favorite of the night. Michelle basically said to Jules that her set started good but fell off, and she commended her for pushing through it. And even though the jokes wasn't funny, then Tiaz told Lana that her jokes were really funny, and Whitney congratulates her on her jokes. The judges don't love her Naomi Campbell cosplay, which is why I said what I said about the whole Naomi Campbell look, which she should have dragged it up a little bit more. And then I saw that her drag mother got online and said, I don't know, but I like it. I said, and I said to her, with the Lucy LaDuca gif, I said, we stand a biased queen over here. So like, you're going to be biased towards your daughter. Be biased against your daughter, Miss Lux. So, and then, the judges did love Sam's roast and her football inspired look. Next, Whitney basically told Lydia that her timing was perfect, and Tia's complimented on her jokes as well. Michelle doesn't really get short shorts from her, and Rue tells her only Lydia needs to get it. Finally, Michelle tells Lexi she was good to let the audience in when she didn't land a joke, but the jokes weren't good. This kind of reminds me of the same critique that she gave Lexi during the Snatch game. It was like, you were bad, but you were bad in a funny way. But Tia's also climbed up from her dramatic trains week after week, which is why I said she needs to retire them damn trains. I get maybe that's your signature, but it's like, yeah, the slutty outfits with the trains, it is getting a little tired. Like, switch it up, sis. So then, and then Lexi tells the judges the beef she had with her placement and comparing herself to Suzie, but Michelle basically said to her that her and Suzie are two different queens, and Whitney tells of her inner saboteur. And that's why I said it don't matter about the placement. You should have still been able to excel. Like Suzie does what Suzie does, but I guess because y'all get in your head that, yeah, Suzie is somebody who's talented with like the theater stuff and acting and being a personality or whatever the case is, that's always going to go over and that sort of thing. So now, but you two are two different types, and you pretty funny when you were doing your read through with your jokes. So I don't know what happened between it. Well, I know what happened. It was the inner saboteur, so that's why what happened. So the winner of the week's challenge was Lydia Butthole Collins. Sam and Lana were safe. Joining them in the back of the stage was Lexi. Jules and Arrietty lip sync for their lives. And I'll tell you one thing: if she would have saved Rue if Rue would have saved Arrietty after everything, there would have been riots in the streets. The gays would have probably came out with their pitchforks and their glitter tiki torches, because there was no way in hell that she was going to come. But I believe that they eliminated Arrietty because it was like, yeah, we brought her back before. She was saved because of the badunkadunk, the tank, and they knew that, okay, next week's challenge is an acting challenge. She's not going to do well in that, so we're done. I think all the fashion challenges is done, which is kind of what Anya said in Untucked, where she was just like, and I know it was a little harsh what she said, but she spared no lie. Where she's a look queen. She brings the fashions, but she brings nothing else. And I've been saying that week after week. I've been saying Arrietty brings nothing else to the table but looks. And like I said, you have to be a versatile queen if you're going to be on Drag Race. So, but then I found it funny, like when Arrietty got eliminated and she was twirling to the back of the stage after her elimination, like Kenya Moore teaching a bunch of wannabe models at Barbizon. And when Whitney came out, oh, now you want to use this opportunity to be funny? It's like, yeah, the pressure's off. She going home. Now you're going to actually show your true self up there. But I should have known, this girl, money can buy you many a looks, but money ain't going to buy you an actual personality. And if you watched her appear on Roscoe's last week alongside Anya and Lexi, Arrietty lacks in a personality. She barely said two words when she was sitting up there with the girls. Like, she looks so uncomfortable and out of place. It is like when people ask her questions, like, you get stage fright and you can't talk about it. Girl, maybe you need to get liquored up. I don't know. But Arrietty, that's why I was like, she's pretty, but like the personality is just non-existent, even on and off camera. But I do love when we got to Untucked, because Untucked was just as juicy, and Anya basically, her and Suzie was in the break room, I mean, in the workroom or backstage and Untucked, and they had their little thing, and they were having a conversation, and Anya gathered Arrietty and Lexi. So Anya gets the VP award for that, when she was basically saying that she ain't good at nothing else. And I don't understand why the girls was ganging up on Jules for what she did. Like, I don't feel like it was fair the way they did it. And that's why I love that Anya came to her defense. And Arrietty's up there saying, well, you sit up here defending, you jumping in the conversation, ain't got nothing to do with you. But girl, you've been saying a whole lot of messy things about people on this show. That's why I was like, Anya also had to gather you in the workroom when y'all were beating your faces. And you went up and said that, oh, she's my sister. And she was like, oh, well, the rest of us aren't your sisters. Well, we have a deeper connection. And she does come across as standoffish, even when she had the helmet on. Oh, I'm sorry because of my rested, I got the RBF, rested bitch face, because the thing is glued to my face. I'm like, girl, you always look like that. You always look mad about some shit. So I do find it hilarious that Arrietty, could be shady and assert herself in other conversations, but Anya need to mind her damn business. And for those of you who was jumping online trying to come to her defense and getting all mad at Anya, I'm like, no, Anya is basically holding up a mirror to a lot of you broads and what y'all saying, and a lot of times y'all don't like the truth. And I was like, you know what? That's why I wasn't mad about it, because I get the same way about stuff. Like, I'll hold up a whole mirror, and I expect my friends to do it to me too. And I get a little mad, and it stings, but then I sit with him like, you know what? This bitch was right. And that's what a true sister does. It's like, somebody gotta be willing to tell you about yourself, and yeah, you can get mad about some shit, but at the end of the day, it's just like, you know what? She was right. I'm tripping, and let's move on from it. So Anya's like that Auntie Anya, who just gonna tell you about some stuff, whether you want to hear it or not. So I was here for it. And I also, find it funny that certain queens pretty much can't differentiate themselves from someone without accusing them of stealing a moment, because that's what Arrietty said about Anya. Oh, she trying to steal a moment. She wasn't trying to steal no damn moment. So I don't get that. So, and also, wow, since y'all greenlighting a whole bunch of other stuff, we're about to get into another show that y'all greenlit. Can you greenlight Toot Nerve as a series? Because here's the thing. When they started going up in there and saying what they said, that was a funny bit what they was doing. So if y'all, y'all need to greenlight more backdoor pilots. So yeah, so that's basically my overall thoughts on the latest episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 17, Episode 10, The Villain's Roast. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding the villain edit? I mean, not the villain edit, because they said what they said and they did what they did. So what did y'all think of this latest episode? Was y'all here for RuPaul's Drag Race and Untucked? Because back to back, that was the best 2 hours I've seen of this show in a long time. So I definitely want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So now before we get to the comments, and I see we got a lot, I want to get into this story. So it's a follow-up on the whole Arrietty, Jules Sparkles drama. So Suzie too is out here spilling tea on the drama that transpired between them and what I guess we didn't see on the show. So shout out to Entertainment Weekly because they had this exclusive. So I was like, yeah, let's get into it. So Suzie Toot spilled basically on why Jules didn't tell the judges, because I was sitting there like the whole time when I was watching the episode, I was like, so at what point is she going to spill on her sister and say, like, you know what, Arrietty stole my jokes? And I'm glad, this finally came up, because I was literally thinking this as I was watching the episode. So RuPaul's Drag Race Season 17 clocked in for its most dramatic episode yet, amid the queens pulling no punches during the hilarious villains roast. And its latest eliminated contestant, Arrietty, sought revenge by dropping a bombshell on her season's sister by stealing pre-written jokes, which weren't funny by the way, from Jules Sparkles after the latter put her in a precarious position in the Comedy Challenge order. Now, an exclusive interview with EW shortly after Friday's episode aired, fellow cast member Suzie Toot, which one of the girls said Suzie Toots, and I had to correct Suzie because you said it's plural. I was like, no, it's singular. Toot is singular. Plural means more than one, so Suzie Toots would be plural, not singular. Look, I got to sit up here and teach the children. So, pop the corn and feed the children, as a wise queen once said. So now, what did she say? Okay, so now Suzie recalls the onset drama as a force that impacted the entire workroom environment. She said it was heat in that room in a crazy way, Susan said with a laugh after she was shown on camera attempting to calm both Arrietty and Lexi, who also felt sabotaged by Jules selecting her to go last in the roast rotation. Sidebar, mind you, Lexi wanted to go last in the challenge. She asked for it, it was given to her, and then she got upset. Make that make sense. One thing Suzie, or anyone for that matter, couldn't have mediated was a bombshell revelation that, in retaliation against Jules, Arrietty, who Jules placed one spot ahead of herself in the lineup, had stolen some of her sister's jokes and used them on stage. The camera showed Jules looking perturbed in the audience, but Suzie tells EW why Jules didn't immediately jump out to out Arrietty's actions. She said, She didn't tell anyone in the moment. It wasn't until a van ride that night until she told me that what happened. Here's the thing. This is what Jules said, I'm going to hold this in. I'm not going to say it unless Arrietty says it, because if she goes home tonight, I don't want this being part of her narrative. Well, it's so nice that you're thinking of others in that situation while she was willing to sabotage you and get you to sashay away because she was in her feelings about what had happened. So Arias did, however, bring it up in the group later during filming for the Untucked competition series. So Jules spoke about it on camera in a confessional that aired during the Villains Roast, which welcomed back past contestants Mistress Isabel Brooks, Plain Jane, and Kandi Muse. Now, in her EW Elimination interview, Arrietty suggested that the rift on set impacted her in emotional ways and that she and Jules aren't necessarily the closest sisters of the season 17 cast. Suzie confirms that Friday night's drama was one of the fights that affected the real relationship of the girls because it left things unresolved for weeks after Arrietty left without an opportunity to see Jules until after filming wrapped. Well, I wonder where they met up at. Now, I wonder if there's weeks after it wrapped, was it they met up and they had to do some promotional type stuff and that's where they met up? Or was it during the Drag Race season 17 premiere that took place in New York where all the queens had to gather together? This is around December when all this happened, because I told you I was there. So I'm wondering if that was when they met up and then they patched, or they just were cordial to each other. Because like Suzie said, that yeah, after what had happened, yeah, they on camera they patched things up, but then there's like still that distance. She said it's all good now. The group chat is still alive. There was a dip during the season when people weren't talking, but everything is good. Now, elsewhere during the conversation, which took place at P-Town Bar in Pittsburgh on Friday night, Suzie reveals a joke she wrote down but didn't ultimately use during the roast, and it involves a popular drag queen all-stars icon. She said, I'll tell you one. Mistress looks like Trixie Mattel if you put a bicycle pump inside of her. So then Suzie additionally speaks about season 17 contestant and roast-winning queen Lydia Butthole Collins, who hails from Pittsburgh, and the latter's romantic relationship with fellow cast member Corey King. And she also said, you watch the show, they're practically fucking on episode 1. I clocked it, because at first, and this is tea, this is exclusive, I'd written in my journal the day before the Monopolist work day, maybe I should start a fake romance with Corey King because I think she's kind of into me and it would be funny. She was sending signals my way. Your woman is being cheated on, Suzie says. Now, Indica, a drag entertainer who hosts the Another Party event, also praises Lydia as a representation of the local drag scene, saying what Lydia is telling the world about Pittsburgh drag is that we smell bad. But in all seriousness, what Lydia is telling the world about Pittsburgh drag is that Pittsburgh is a city that often gets forgotten about when you think about the bigger cities. But some of the coolest, punkest, and most transgressive drag happens right here. Well, look, the only time we heard from Pittsburgh is when they use it as queer as folk, in the show, as saying that this is, Pittsburgh, blah, 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 all the other stuff, even though it was Canada where they was filming. But nevertheless, I'm glad that we got this exclusive tea. I hope that the girls work it out. But here's the thing, what I'm really looking forward to. Y'all better give us a reunion this season. I don't know if it'll be a bring back my girls type situation with T.S. Madison, but if RuPaul doesn't want to do sidebar, Ru, you working part-time now? Like, you barely was in the episode of the roast. You only showed up when it was time to do the main stage situation. Other than that, Michelle handled everything. So you weren't there. But I did hear something like, we've been talking many times, like Ru talking about retiring. I think it was a video that popped up that Ru said she will never retire from Drag Race. So she's going to do it until y'all don't give a damn about the show no more. She's not going nowhere. But now I guess all the other spinners, maybe she'll pass that down. But for the most part, she's going to stick with it. So there you have it. Hopefully we get to find out the tea in regarding the girls and where they stand in the reunion. I mean, at the reunion. But if Ru doesn't want to do the reunions anymore, let's T.S. Madison come in and host it with Michelle Visage or something or another. I don't know. Because it don't seem like Ru even, she don't interact with these girls like that. She don't seem as engaged. But I was like, yeah, let Michelle do it and let T.S. co-host. And then y'all could do a further down the road one with T.S. by herself at with Bring Back My Girls when she does it at DragCon. Sidebar, does not even know when we're getting DragCon this year? Like, I haven't heard anything about DragCon. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding this exclusive tea from Suzie Toot on why Jules Sparkles did not spill the tea or throw Arrietty, well, not even throw Arrietty in the bus, because Arrietty tried to throw her under the bus, but why she didn't reveal that, yeah, this bitch sabotaged me during the challenge, which we ended up in the bottom. But then again, look, um, Jules ate her up in that performance of Beyonce's Yaya, because they performed that. I was like, okay, yeah, it's one of the best songs off of Cowboy Carter. They got to perform for the show. I'm sure that cost the show a pretty penny. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So let's get to the comments. So I've heard. Because there was something that was going on at the Oscars where they said that she has been very much she didn't want to present for the documentary because there was a guy from Israel and a guy from Palestine co-directed this documentary that they ended up winning, and she didn't want to present for it because apparently she's a hardcore Zionist, and she did serve in the military, which is mandatory in Israel. I find it funny because I don't see Gaga as an advocate as much as Madonna. Madonna still go to ballrooms for she remembers her roots. I don't well, because that's not what she stands on. It's easy to just jump in and be like, yeah, I'm for the gays and the trans and pause up, and they want this new generation wants somebody to represent and like. Can we stop? I mean, we love the Allies. The Allies is great, but can we actually start windmilling for our own as well, and not only be looking for the approval of straight people? Arrietty and Lexi project their insecurities onto poor Jewel. Yeah, not bless her heart disease. Arrietty is perfect for Dragula. She can go on. I mean, she can go with her. Yeah. You know what? That would be cute if she could go on there. But let's see, would she be able to do those challenges though? Because I think she just wanna look cute and work the runway. I've never heard not one queen complain about the order of the runway representations. Why? Because it's the Boy 200 as a whole, as Tate, Kendrick, and Drake are basically all neck and neck and have between 1K separating each other. So expect it. Well, okay, we'll see. This episode tinted my hopes of Lexi winning this season. Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, because Lexi, I thought it was like, yeah, I could definitely still win it. But yeah, her insecurity has been showing so much. I really feel like, I mean, I could definitely see Lexi making it all the way to the finale. But I feel like Suzie is probably going to win. So it gives me like Susie's going to win. I feel like Susie's going to be in the top. I mean, Susie's the final. My final four is Anya, Lexi, and Sam. Those are my top four. But I think that's been my top four for the beginning. That's who's going to make it all the way to the end. I'm sure they could have called the UK producers to edit Whitney out the episode like they did one of their contestants. I liked her as a judge. I was hoping they would bring her back. Just searched her up, and she was a woman that said the Democrats were busy holding up a. And she be thinking her ass is funny. I've never found Whitney Cummings funny, but she was cute on the episode. But I was like, child, you tired. Y'all could have had Chelsea Handler up on there if y'all really wanted to get somebody on the show. I like the fat jokes. Of course, Ruth's skinny ass isn't going to say something about. But look, some of the fat jokes was a little lame. I feel like y'all could have did a whole lot better. Like, to me, I felt like the most clever fat joke that was told was from, oh my god, I forget, from Lydia. I feel like she was really clever with some of the jokes. There was so many jokes that it was like, okay, these are coming across a little lazy. I don't want to be one of those people that's be like, yeah, well, y'all can't be making any. It was cringe. It was this. It was like, because some people get too damn sensitive. But I'm like, it's a roast. What do you expect people to say or do at a roast? You're supposed to kind of be mean spirited, but you got to be clever with the jokes too. My top four predictions: Jules, Sam, Anya, and Lexi or Suzie. I could definitely see Suzie making it all the way to the end. the makeover challenge. I wonder if they're actually gonna be doing one. Gaga isn't straight. Well, yeah, that's what I've heard. She is a bisexual. Not to be shady, but there were videos that said Gaga going for the gays. It was a labeled decision, not really hers. You heard stories, and I've heard that it could destroy her career if the truth comes out. Who she really is. Her father is. Well, we know that her father is a damn Trump supporter, and she's denounced him. But did she buy her father a restaurant? Anyway. All right, y'all. So let's get to our final topic. And let's get into this Slaycation tease. So Emmy-winning media company World of Wonder has announced that it is serving up a second season of the original series Slaycation, which I'm here is currently filming in Canada, better known to the world as Canada. So the Wow Presents Plus series sees Drag Race alumni from across the globe band together for a vacation of a lifetime in the Canadian winter. The first season was debuted on December 31st of last year. So yeah, it was a New Year's Eve when this show came out. Features 6 queens from the US, UK, Canada, and more. Now stars included Kevin Candelario, Kerry Colby, Lawrence Cheney, Boa, Lux Noir London, and Jada Shada Hudson. Now Canada's Drag Race announced in a Thursday, March 6th, Instagram post that the series is returning with a new cast of queens from an unforgettable Slaycation. So Bell Media, who owns and operates Crave, told fans they can expect fun activities, frivolity, and a hint of drama, which will culminate in a show-stopping performance for the local community. Now, stars for the upcoming season include Alyssa Edwards, as y'all can see in the photo up above, Miss Fiercealicious, Nikki Doll, Silky Nutmeg Ganache, Tessa Testicle, and Xana. Now, as I stated earlier, production is currently underway in Canada, but it's Alberta to be exact. Now, much like its first season, the new series is expected to take place in the Canadian winter, in which the stars will get up to some vacation-based shenanigans and the patented piping hot tea that the Drag Race brand is known for. Now, stars from across the franchise were elated by the announcement, with Drag Race UK Season 1 contestants saying, "Oh Lord, this is going to be wild." Now, Canada's Drag Race and Slaycation alumni Boa said on the announcement, "This is about to be so chaotic." The project is said to be produced by Blue Ant Studios, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So, people actually like season 1. You want to know something? Don't throw your tomatoes at me, but I never actually got a chance to watch Slaycation. There's been so many other shows that I've just been caught up in that I totally forgot that Slaycation was even on. I started catching up on For the Love of Dilfs because my friend, and the show was done already. So, because my friend Victor Yates is on it. So I've been busy catching up on that among so many other shows that I've been getting caught up in. So I definitely need to give Slaycation a binge before season 2 comes out. And I'm sure season 2 will probably come out around. I wonder if they're going to have it come out around the same time as they did this current season. So we got to wait till December 31st of 2025 until we go into 2026 to get season 2. And you know what? Another thing, I really wish that they would take this show and they would put it on, well, not this show, but like Drag Race. I really wish they would put it on Wow Presents Plus. I know they put it on other parts of the world, but I wish it was on the US Wow as well, because the way that people say that they're having a hard time getting Drag Race on, their regular providers, it just makes it hard for them to see, which is why a lot of people either watch it illegally online or they go to their local bar or whatever the case is, and they go and watch it that way, like the viewing parties and things of that nature. So that's the latest news on that. I ask all of you, what do you guys think of this story? Are you excited for a season 2 of Slaycation? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So we are officially at the end of today's show. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. If you haven't already, hit that like button and that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Also, be on the lookout if you are coming on after the live stream that there will be timestamps put into the show so that way you can follow along and just click right to whatever episode, which clip or which segment that we talk about. You can just get right to it and get your tea that way, or just wait for me to edit the shorter clips and I'll post them up. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. I'll be back on Tuesday because tomorrow, I'll be pretty busy. I'll be at, WWE. What is it? WD SmackDown? Yeah, I'll be there for that. It's going to be a big event. So I'll be working that, but I'll be back on Tuesday with a brand new episode. So, and I'm sure by then, with Monday pass and everything, there'll be a lot of juicy topics that we can get into. So love you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, ciao, Miss America and beyond, to infinity and beyond.